Tech Natural is insane. We bring a proper light, cover helicopter light, loud like a chopper bite, block seal the watertight, descending appetite, no skill, just a lot of height, hit 'em with the boxes right, that make 'em drop the mic. We bring a proper light, cover helicopter light, loud like a chopper bite, block seal the watertight, descending appetite, no skill, just a lot of height, hit 'em with the boxes right, that make 'em drop the mic. We drop a hot one, pumping like a shotgun, number one spot, there boat, we got a lock, son. The top's the key, my thoughts run deep, approximately a clock speed, Mach 3, hyper velocity sound, tear it up and break it down. Well, wait later, they might as well hate us now. So we built a foundation on solid ground, cause haters huff and puff, try to blow us down. We're not slowing down, in fact we getting quicker. We used to flow ill, now we diagnose sicker. Taking natural, yeah, we elevated, so far ahead of the game. Now we feeling segregated, cause competition, yeah, we got them frustrated, cause they a duplicate, we custom made this spit. Yo, they got hip hop suffocated, it can't breathe, we just here to resuscitate it. We bring a proper light, cover helicopter light, loud like a chopper bite, block seal the watertight, descending appetite, no skill, just a lot of height, hit 'em with the boxes right, that make 'em drop the mic. We bring a proper light, cover helicopter light, loud like a chopper bite, block seal the watertight, descending appetite, no skill, just a lot of height, hit 'em with the boxes right, that make 'em drop the mic. Detecting supernatural, launching air strikes, from the intro it ain't a fair fight, no. Just when you thought you were prepared right, uh-oh, bringing skills short like Frodo's a no-no, like a butter knife, but don't cut it. Mediocre MC still got the game flooded, it's overflow from the engine to the carburetor. We got them sweating, breathing heavy like Darth Vader. Now they're trying to settle quick like an arbitrator. By talking smooth like a phone sex operator. I bite the style, but it has no flavor. We're here to stay, so hate us now or hate us later. Still kick the data with soul like Taylor. So pack it in and abort to the layer. Cause hiding out's the only thing that'll save ya from the wrath of the warpath. If you don't know the half, it's a two fast, do the math. We bring a proper light, cover helicopter light, loud like a chopper bite, block seal the watertight, descending appetite, no skill, just a lot of height, hit 'em with the boxes right, that make 'em drop the mic. We bring a proper light, cover helicopter light, loud like a chopper bite, block seal the watertight, descending appetite, no skill, just a lot of height, hit 'em with the boxes right, that make 'em drop the mic.
Yo, O.O.C, what up? Welcome to the O.O.C, it's the place to go, it's the place to be, yeah. Welcome to the O.O.C, it's the place to go, it's the place to be, yeah. Welcome to the show, yeah, welcome to the show. I said welcome to the show with Roberto and Geisgar and Anzo. Yeah.
I love it, man.
What is up, guys? What is up? How you guys doing? Josh made that little intro there, and I said, you know what, I'm going to put it on the show. Big up to Josh for that. Also got a big up to LDG for the fire background.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
This
Pure fire, yo.
Shit is done properly, so I do appreciate that to you guys. Everybody that's in the chat, we got Mama Bear, we got Anthony, we got Aiden, we got Zach, we got Garrett, LDG is in the house, Lewis is in the house, Anthony is in the house, Elihu is in the house, and
Elihu?
Yes, he is, and that's an interesting. That's interesting, Eli. I didn't hear it. I'm going to go check that out later. But what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to go through the panel so you guys can talk about your channels. And the reason
Where's
why
LDG when I need him, man? Where's LDG
you know
when
what I mean? The reason why I'm laughing is because I'm going to start off with my co-host Roberto over here. So, and he's going to say the same shit he says every week. But go ahead.
No, I had something a little different. I was like this close. I was doing it. You know, I told you, Anzo, I called you. I told you I was doing it. And I got a phone call. And my mind just went elsewhere, man.
Was it a bad phone call?
Well, my mom had this stomach virus, right? And she went to the hospital. They're taking care of her. And remember all that shit I was telling you guys about the hospital. I don't like that shit. If anything, don't let your people go there, right? Sure enough, my mom got COVID.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So far, so good. She's not on any breathing device. She has no fever. She had a fever. But that shit's scary, man. And when it touches you, It's reality, you know. You feel for everybody that goes through it, but when it touches you, man.
Well, I definitely know you want to get something off your chest, so we will get into that a little bit later. Guys,
Sorry to go off track, but you know,
no, brother. Don't even worry about that, man.
What up, brother?
What's up? Talk about channel, bro.
My channel? Chaos Central's my channel. You all know where you can find me. Links below.
That's right. Everybody's links is in the description. That's right, Terrence. Even your link is in the description as well, brother. So, Terrence, tell the people about your channel.
He's got his mute on.
Oh, he does. Okay, so there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Hello, humans. This is Terrence. You can find me on T-Virus Terrence. For this particular month, I've stated that I've been doing a lot of videos for Black History Month in terms of reviews, videos, and posts, among other things. I just wanted to do that as a way to have fun, and I noticed that a lot of the other channels are not doing that. So I figured that with all of my experiences and knowledge that I could just kind of go back and review older Black films and, you know, talk about different historical figures in relation to my people and just have fun while doing so. So that's kind of the focus point. There's other things as well, like whatever I happen to think of at that moment in time. But at this moment, luckily, I have about 80 videos on standby that I'll, you know, upload at different points. But there's always something that I'm working on. And at the moment over there on the channel, there are 2,297 videos and over 85 playlists. And I just make sure to organize everything so that way, if a human decides to stay on that channel, then they can have an easy time by being able to navigate through all the various videos.
And I tell you guys, this guy puts in work on his channel. So if any of you ain't subscribed to Terrence, go and subscribe to Terrence, man. Because I was about to say, you sure you only have 80? I figured you'd have like, yeah, I got 500 videos in the waiting, and you're slowing down, bro.
Oh well, you know, there's a lot. Like, I mean, that's just an estimate, but I know there's a lot that are on standby. So I just wanted to throw out a more realistic number. But
Gotcha.
whatever is not on standby, there's always like stuff that I'm thinking about too. So, you know, it just depends. And if the sun sets right, then the video gets uploaded. That's kind of how I go about it.
Gotcha. Movie aficionado. Aficionados, Jesus. You are next. Tell the people about your channel, sir.
Guys, everybody, Movie Aficionados on Facebook and on YouTube. I actually have some stuff up, some videos. I've been a little bit more active. I have my strip club stories #1. You should check it out. It's pretty funny. Also, I have my animation for my comic book, Artsy Fartsy. It's about two pretentious film critics. It's also on Amazon, and that's it.
Excellent.
Nice.
So now you guys seen my boy did that little song at the beginning. He said he wanted to throw something down. So we're gonna let him start off the show. We're gonna let this dude throw something down for y'all. Josh, do your thing, bro.
Ooh, starting off a little bit.
Oh, you just happen to have the guitar right there, right?
I know. Let me get a nice little pick here. Sorry.
Live.
Yo.
This is how we do, bro.
Yeah, there we go. Ready? If you guys want to sing a little something. Friday nights. We do it right, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm just messing around. You're messing around.
I thought you were gonna start bashing the guitar.
No, I gotta come prepared with something better.
Good job, brother. Good job.
Thank you.
See, I see some fires in the chat there. You know, Khalil, fire, heat, Louis, down. Good job. That's how we do. You know, so there's a few things that are going to be on the topic today, or on the block today, topics, whatever we can talk about. But I want to first get into Roberto's stuff, because what you guys don't know is, like I said, I've been a friend of Roberto since I was like 10 years old. So his mother's like my mother, you know what I mean? Like, I've been to the house, moms would always cook for us and everything. So Roberto, talk to the people, man.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, that's not so much what I wanted to get off of my chest.
Oh, okay.
But I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it, because, you know, it's kind of like I foreseen this happening. So it's not like a shock to me, you know. I'm just happy that the outcome is better than statistics say, because when you keep hearing them statistics and then you put your parents in that category, man, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But what I wanted to get off my chest, more or less, is how I was at the gas station the other day, you know, putting in gas, minding my own business like I normally do. And I couldn't help but overhear this gentleman on my side was talking to the next guy saying, "Yeah, hey, buddy, don't you find it funny how when we had lockdown and nobody was out, gas was $1.12, and now let's go on the rules a bit and gas is $1.23. What happened?" And I'm like, it's nice to know that other people fucking notice, you know? Because when they have reason that they claim, you know, deficiencies, attacks on oil refineries, blah, 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 whatever they say to raise the prices, but when they have no justification. And right now, look at the state everybody's in. Everybody's like worried about paying their mortgage, paying their rent, putting food on their table, right? So, sorry, man, my daughter just poofed me right there. You know? But what I see is, like, you know, why don't they, you know, instead of giving out all this money, hold these major corporations accountable? Because I don't know, man, it seems like they just keep charging more without justification. Just doing more without justification, you know? Like, my insurance went up. I'm hardly driving. Why is it going up? I had no accidents. I made no claim. Gas is going up. This is going up. That's going up. Meanwhile, what's coming in ain't going up.
For real.
So this calculation is a bad mix, right?
You know what's crazy too, Roberto, to add to what you're saying? You know how much the crude barrel of oil cost?
I can only imagine it's in the
$36.68.
Yeah, I was even gonna say 50, just to give them the benefit. Yeah. $36.
By the way, you guys are lucky. By the way, you guys said your gas costs $1.20 something.
A liter.
Oh, a liter?
Not a gallon.
Not a gallon.
Okay.
There's 4 liters
all right,
more or less
in a gallon.
Per gallon? Okay.
Yes.
So cha-ching that, my American friend. Cha-ching that.
$5.
And you want to know what else is more expensive here than down there? How much you pay for a gallon of milk?
$3.
You know how much we pay here? $7.
That's also, I buy almond milk, but I haven't bought regular milk in like years. But even
whatever
that's
like whatever it is, double the price.
It's just double.
Not on all things, but majority of the stuff, yes.
Well, I mean, I have some friends that I feel like, say about 85% of my friends, they all have cars, you know, some multiple cars, and quite often they tell me, Terrence, and the gas went up. It's more expensive now. I'm like, oh, I see. And then I just kind of stare at them because I don't have a car. So usually at most, if one of them comes to get me, if they want, I give them gas money, could be $5,
Mm-hmm.
$10, whatever. And then,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time that's not the case. So I'm not really in that situation of having to worry about gas for a vehicle. So they're like, you're lucky and all that. I'm like, well, it's not really luck, as I tell them. I just made a decision to not have a vehicle. And they kind of just get a little irritated because I'm not as, I guess, stressed out about it.
No, and I feel you because I'm in the same boat as you. Like I'm not driving, my son does, so he has to worry about that stuff, but I don't. You know what I mean? So I'm there with you, man. Like I know it's expensive because one of my ex used to drive, and it's like we'd go to like the Indian Reserve to get gas because it was cheaper over there. You know what I mean? It's like we're searching places to find the cheapest gas. It's like, okay, it's
That's what I
120
do.
here. Oh, it's 110 here. Okay, yeah, you know what I mean? So
There's a
it's
gas
fucked up.
station off of the 40 by Coper 2. It's always 5 cents cheaper than everywhere else, and I'll go out of my way to go there.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Speedway where I am here, and Speedway, they have a crazy membership system. So basically, like, you buy a gift card and they give you $1 off the gift card, and plus they give you 500 points every time you buy one. So I'm just like, yeah, let me get a $25 gift card. Then they give me the $1 off, so I save $1 there. I use it for gas, get 500 points, and then like after 5,000 points, you get like $5 on it. So it sounds small and tedious, but it sounds like what you're talking about.
Well, hey, you got to put gas, right?
Yeah, with membership.
So eventually it pays for itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I used to have a car. I mean, my thing was that unfortunately, my parents they forced a license and a car onto me, saying that I'm not a man if I don't drive a car. I felt like that was very stupid ideology, but I kind of rode with it because for me, I was always able to get to wherever I needed to go, either by walking or I would take the bus. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have a need for a car. But at that time, I had a 2007 Honda Accord V6 engine, leather seats, navigational system. My parents made sure that I, had something good, and it took like I think $40 to $45 to fill up the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't too thrilled about that because I'm thinking, okay, that's like 2 or 3 movies I could have seen. That's like a canister of protein I could have purchased, different stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, I'm like gas, from my experience and then what I've seen in the later years, it just that can really add up in terms of how much you spend on it.
Absolutely.
Especially if you
Absolutely.
got kids with activities and your work
Mm-hmm.
is on the other side of town, and
Sure.
Yep.
Right. No,
there's more.
I hear that. Yeah, I hear that. I mean, my friends get very mad. Like some of them, they have kids and they seem so upset. Like, yep, I gotta take them to school and I gotta go halfway across this town. And I'm like, why do you sound so upset? I'm like, shouldn't you be happy with your kid and
Should
the job
have
and
put a
stuff?
condom on. Shit.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
it's because it switches with these humans. It's like on Monday, they're telling me that it's the best thing in the world and that I should have it. But then on Wednesday, they just seem like they want to burn everything to the ground. I'm like, you got to make up your mind here. You're confusing me.
Right.
Tim's like 45 to fill up a Honda. Where do you live, Terrence? But I mean, isn't it like $50 here to fill up your tank? Depending on
It
what
costs-
you're
Depends what you're driving.
I have
Yeah.
a CX. I have a CX5, and it costs me $45 to fill up the tank.
Mm-hmm. Around
Yeah.
45, $50. Yeah.
Well, I put
Like
in
I'm talking about like if it's from
yesterday.
like empty, like if it like
Yeah.
when the line is like damn near right on the E, it will take 40 to 45 to fill it up. If it was
Absolutely.
halfway, then it would take 20 to 25. So
It's
that's
about
what I was
30.
rolling.
$16.
About $30
What
for
do you
me.
drive, a moped?
That's, yeah,
It's
maybe
called
King
that
David has a
Vespa.
bike. King David has a bike. He has a Honda bike. No, it costs like $30 for me.
What do you drive?
I have a Pontiac Sunfire. Flash, are you or not Flash? I just saw Flash. Terrence, are you in an urban area? Like with more public transportation?
Yeah, like there's actually quite a few bus stops around me, so
Yeah.
I would say so. I mean, For my particular vehicle, the gas lasted a long time, so I don't know if that makes a difference. I mean, like once I
Right.
would fill it up, it would last a while.
Hmm.
So I guess that was the plus side of it.
Yeah, you
You
see
have to
that
take that
too.
into consideration.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you're not driving a lot and you fill up a tank and it lasts like 2 or 3 weeks. My son drives a Mazda 3 and I think it's about $45 to fill up his tank. So
Right, right. Yeah, but no, yeah, definitely. There's a bus stop around the corner from my house. There's one across the street. I walk like maybe 8 minutes. There's another one, and then there's another one on the other side. So I can get from here to LA or Redondo Beach or Long Beach or Compton or wherever like pretty
Oh, okay.
easily.
Oh, you're in
So
Cali.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm upstate, so you got to have a car. Otherwise, you're going to be walking and you're walking in the freezing cold, which you don't want to do. So, you know what I mean?
Here you can survive without a car.
I know you
I have
guys
a
don't give a shit
friend.
about freezing cold. You guys are like, that's what we do every fucking day.
no, I've heard that exact line. Like I remember one day I was walking to work and it was raining and all that, and then I remember my father, he just pulled up and he's like, son, get in the car, it's too cold out here, you're gonna catch a cold, you can't be walking to work. And I'm like, I've been doing this for the last 2.5 months and I have yet to be cold, number one, and I have yet to get sick or die. So I suggest you let me do what I'm doing. He's like, this is why you're gonna fucking get a car. And then that turned into a whole thing.
mm. I mean, I am, man. I'm good. I can walk. I've been doing it. You know what I mean? Everywhere I go is around the area. So I'm like, I haven't really seen a need for it.
Right.
You know, especially here in Montreal, it's like we can just
Trust
go.
me,
Yeah, you
you
can get
probably
around.
have one Xbox or PlayStation less.
Oh, I know that. I know
You
that.
know,
Not only that, right? Um, like certain places you go, you can't really drive. Like if you're going downtown,
Who drives downtown?
that's exactly it. You know what I mean? Like why drive downtown? I know people who would park their cars and then take the metro the rest of the way to work because
it
there's just
depends
no
what it
parking.
is, right? It
Mhm.
depends what it is. If it's an event, yeah, that makes sense. But just any other weekend, like I'm not partying no more. I'm beyond that. So when I go downtown, say we go to eat, I never really have a problem. And I have a truck. I
You
find
never have a
downtown.
problem.
No, I find downtown is different now than it used to be because people. I mean, suburban areas are so. What's the word I'm looking for? They've grown so much that they have so much out there that they don't really have to go downtown anymore.
Yep, I agree.
I
Well,
find downtown is
Um,
like dying.
me and my
well,
Listen,
son when we used to go to the movies, it was hard to find parking downtown,
How
bro.
long ago? I'm talking
Last
like
year.
now.
I'm
Really?
talking last year. Yeah, last year. Last year when movies were open, we were going to see all these movies. It was crazy finding. We were parking blocks away. You know what I mean? It's like,
I-
oh, there's a parking. Okay, let's take it there, and then walk the rest of the way because it's so hard to find parking downtown. And
Yo,
I guess it depends on the time you go, but
it's
we
gonna
going
cost
around.
you $6 in a meter, right? For
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So you go down Stanley, you go down those side streets, you find those
Yeah, yeah.
underground parking, $10.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
like if you don't stop and think, so many times we go downtown and we're stressed. I hear you, stressed looking for parking. Meanwhile,
well,
we're too cheap to spend $10. Save yourself the agony, gas money, driving around,
exactly. I was
stress
about to
from
say
being
that.
in traffic. You
You're
just
burning
park your
20
shit
bucks of gas.
downstairs. Your shit is all nice and warm. If it's raining, it's dry. If it's snowing, it's clean. You know what I mean? No
Mm-hmm.
well,
headaches.
if I'm gonna be honest about it, like the only difference that a car did for me would be if I wanted to go somewhere, I could get there faster. And at the time, they're very big on the whole midnight movie release, like
Mm-hmm.
actually at 12 o'clock kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Mm-hmm.
haven't done that for years, but that was like a thing. So I would be able to go whenever I wanted and just show up whenever I wanted, and I didn't have to wait on Bobby Totem driving the bus that was maybe 20 minutes late or something like that, or my friend who just didn't care to go 2 hours early, even though I told him that we should. And there's been situations with that. I could just get in my car and go. So that was the difference. But even without it, I still managed to plan. I factored in taking into account the bus guy or bus woman might be late, or the friend might be late, and I had different plans for that. So I feel like the difference is, again, just that I was able to go to places faster, and certain things were more convenient. But that's about it.
Yeah, my son's Mazda is a 2000 and I think 17 or 18. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But yeah, I feel you, man. Like I said, man, for me, plus I have him, so I'm just like, hey, let's go for a drive. You know what I mean? So if I need to go anywhere, I just holler at him. So, guys, you have anything that you had to get off your chest?
You know what, man? I'm just frustrated, bro, man. My kid was diagnosed with ADD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had to do all the tests and everything. And now school is what it is, right? So we did all the paperwork, everything for her to get assistance at school. So we sent the report in. 2 weeks later, because it's just you have the option of giving out what type of report: the full report, medical report, which is really like I'm talking about pages and pages of all the tests and everything, or the summary. So we went with the summary. Gave it to the school. 2 weeks later, no, we want the full report. Already, she's having difficulties with math and science, right? And she's in Sec 4. So she needs to pass her math in order to graduate, right? So she's stressed out. We did our part. We got a tutor for her and everything. She speaks with the guidance counselors there, and now it's kind of she's feeling the pushback. That we're all stressed out because of what's going on in the school situation. So she's getting anxious. Just today, the guidance counselor came in and said, well, there's not going to be any summer school this year. So if you fail, you fail. Now, what I don't get is two things. Last week, I spoke about how the teachers started talking about they might go on strike, right? They're talking to the students about this when they haven't even voted on it yet, or if it's going to happen. They're already throwing more anxiety on kids. I'm sorry, this generation doesn't take much to make them anxious and give them any type of mental breakdowns and shit. The reality is they're not built like we were or the people before us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the teachers are themselves, yes, they're being stressed out. Yes, they're in a very difficult situation, but they're not helping either. Her math teacher, one of the subjects she has troubles with, usually she gives back her exams. We have a tutor for her. The tutor needs back those exams in order to review this shit. The teacher's not giving back the exams anymore. And time here is rolling. Soon is going to be March break. Soon is going to be the finals. And she's studying her ass off and trying to do her end, right, and her part. So where's the help, right? So today I was about to call the principal. My wife goes, no, speak to the teacher first, send an email to see what's going on with her. Maybe she's going through shit. And that leads me to the thing. Everybody goes through shit, but we all have a job to do. At work, I have a job to do. I can be going through the hardest shit in my life, but I have employees that depend on me to be there, their reference, their backbone. I work for them. Right, my employees don't work for me. I work for my employees.
Yeah.
That's the way I build my team, and then at the end we all back each other up. Teachers today, I don't know what they're teaching, how they're teaching it, but it's not like when we went back to school, man. It isn't at all. Everything has to do with tap on the shoulders, good job. Here's a participation thing for you. It wasn't like that for us. When we did it, we didn't succeed. We weren't on the honor roll. We weren't on the honor roll. There was no honorable mention of this and honorable mention of that. You almost made it, right? So it's just fucking sucks, man. I feel a lot of kids, not only her, the kids that are freaking, not going to have a graduation, college as well, university people as well, but mostly for kids in high school where already they're like one day in school, one day not in school, sanitizing this, that, teachers stressed out. Everybody's just a ball of fucking anxiety. It's just, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know if to be angry or to cry or freaking just go medieval, in there. But what's that gonna do? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That is it sucks.
Do you think it would have been better off just not having a school year?
At this point, if they can't help the kids or teach the kids like they're supposed to, absolutely. What's the point?
I feel you.
What's the point? What is the point? Because right now, what I can see is they're being set up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And who's going to be the ones that are going to succeed? The people that have a deep pocket and they can go and find those special tutors and have influence in the school board and make noise. I'm telling you, man, if I have to be that squeaky wheel to get that oil, I'm going to do it. Like tomorrow is a whole different day. But you know what? It's my kid. It's her future. I don't give a shit. I know this is mean. I don't give a shit anybody else's kid or what they're going through in that classroom. My priority is my child. Yeah. Now, that other kids have their parents. And hopefully by me speaking about my kid's situation to her teacher and letting them know, hey, wake the fuck up. I know what you're going through is not easy, but let's work together and make sure that she gets the attention and she gets the help in order to pass her and she's working her ass off, right? And I'm telling you, as a father, it's not easy when you see a kid that your kid's trying, but they're not getting the support she needs from the people that need to get that support, that are being paid for that support. Nah, man. And this is a teacher that was trying to teach math, right, through webcam, who had her camera face down on a piece of paper and writing things on a pen on a piece of paper with the camera on it. It's like,
you posted that picture, right?
Yeah,
on Facebook. Yeah, I remember.
I'm like, how the fuck are they supposed to learn, especially if you have a disability, right? How can you learn that way? It's blows my mind, man.
And what about you, Roberto? Are you having the same issues, or?
Well, my kids are all grown up, so they're
okay.
The thing is with this
they both graduated?
Well, one's in university, the other one's in college.
Holy, how long has it been, man?
Stop smoking, Anzo. Life passed you by.
No, it's just the last time I seen them was at the christening.
Leticia is her second year university, and Sotera's first year college.
Shit.
And the thing is like I walk in her room sometimes while she has her class, and I'm like, are you even involved in this?
Right?
Like, you just randomly look at me and talk to me. I don't see you like touch your keyboard to press mute, or how come I never hear you interacting? I don't need to, Dad.
I know.
So I'm like, so when you're in class, the teacher's talking. Do you even look their way? Like, are you? I'm just here. Hopefully, I get an education.
Oh my God! I the same thing with my eldest. She's in her second year of college, and the same thing. I open up the door in the morning, and she's on her bed with her pillow, with her iPad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you even paying attention?
I hear
the teacher. Camera? No.
I hear the teacher. I hear other kids, but my daughter,
nothing.
You might as well say she's almost like an NFL coach. She doesn't say a word.
Fucking shit, man. I know, man. I just don't.
And mine just started kindergarten, and they're giving her all types of crazy ass work, man. I remember when I was in kindergarten, it was just like, yeah, here, go in the corner, draw,
play with the Lego box.
It's like, dude, it's like. So I got her a Chromebook because I had to get her a Chromebook. My daughter who's in kindergarten. And
what?
A Chromebook in kindergarten?
Well, Mary's like, her mother. She was like, Josh, check this out. This is her itinerary or whatever. And it was this whole long ass list of stuff that she had to do. I'm like, dude, what? Like Abby's 6. Like, what is going on here? But I'm glad that, I guess in a way they're putting their feet to the fire. But like you said, though, I don't know. I think they're still set up for failure because the stuff that they're teaching them, it's the same old shit. Like it's the same old
Yes.
stuff. Like everything has changed in the world. All right, well, let me just paint the picture here. I want to go on a little bit of a rant. Everything has changed in the world. Medicine has changed. It's not since the 1800s where it's like, people will now wash their hands before they deliver a baby and after they, take care of a dead body. It's not the 1800s anymore. Food tasted terrible back in the day. There weren't as many spices. So many things have changed. We've upgraded in so many ways, except for the schooling system. It's the same. It's the same shit. And that's why I'm trying to, I got my daughter all those instruments. I got her the trumpet, the viola. I'm like, pick something else too, like expand your mind. When I get a chance, I'm going to tell her about this, the stock cryptocurrency stuff too. Why didn't they tell us anything, how to invest our money when we were, when we were growing up? Like, I wish somebody would have told me that.
I say that all the time. I'm like, listen,
because the banks fund the schools. The banks don't want you going cryptocurrency way. Cryptocurrency is like marijuana.
Yeah, and I get that, but even like you were saying, like, there's certain things in life that you should teach certain kids, man. You know what I mean? At least give them the opportunity, like how to manage your money. You know what I mean? How to live with depression, how to do certain things.
We used to have cooking
build
class.
your credit. Yes, cooking.
We used to have sewing classes.
Yep.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like life lessons. And
they took that out.
Yeah, because you don't need to learn that.
Nope.
They don't want you to learn that.
I'll say this from this particular angle because I don't have any kids, but I have a lot of friends that do. Some intentional, many by the oops situation because I don't know, they weren't thinking in that moment. But they have a lot of stresses and anxieties and depression and stuff. I don't have any of that. So usually when I talk to them, I try to get them to see some of the positive areas, like, you're with your family's alive, and different sort of viewpoints depending on what they tell me. Because, when they're talking to me and they're stressed out and they're having all these anxiety attacks and depression and, they sound unstable at certain points. And I try to tell them like, okay, that's not healthy. How is that going to help your girl or your son or whatever? And they're like, well, what am I supposed to do, T? And I'm like, well, you're the parent. You should be telling me. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that, when talking to these friends, that what you just told me is something that you should not be doing. Because I try to ask them, I'm like, think about it like this. You just gave me a whole list of your problems. You add depression, anxiety, and rage to that. Tell me how that's going to fix your situation.
Yeah.
And that usually they stay quiet and then they might try to come up with something, but they know I'm right. I'm like, I don't have to have children to understand illogical and logical and what is the more reasonable thing that you should do. And then also, when you tell me that something is not working, it is not smart to do something that is more than likely going to make it worse, not just for you. Because I'm like, I tell some of my friends, I'm like, with me, I'm by myself. I can do whatever I want. It's different. I just have to look out for me. I'm like, you have a girl and you got your son, your daughter, whatever. I'm like, you have to think about them. And if you fall and shatter, then maybe they go with you as a consequence. These are things that, you should naturally be thinking about as a parent. I've read as much online and I've had, many interactions with parents, and there seems to be a typical what you should and should not do. And I use that as a way to try to communicate to them to help them with their problems. And a lot of it is really obvious, but for some reason, due to their emotions, they overlook something that is right in front of them. And a lot of the time, that's the answer to their problems.
The thing is, it's you're dead on. But you know what also plays against that is society, right? Because everything now is butter coated. Everything has to be said certain ways. The blunt truth, you cannot. It's taboo to look upon it. To be able too blunt of coming to being too direct. It's like I said before. We're raising Society is
Generation
becoming
of
a generation of
pussies.
pussies.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? It's just society is putting so much attention and emphasis. I'm not saying it doesn't have to, but they have to stop glorifying so much that, oh, it's okay, you probably have this, that's why you're not succeeding. No, put your ass to the grind.
Maybe you're
No,
a shit
you have
teacher.
to grind. Exactly. Grind. Man, I remember in grade 3, I had trouble paying attention, and I failed. The teacher told my parents, I think being behind, it's not that he doesn't know the material, but he had a lot of trouble this year. I think if he does it again, he'll be better. Fuck yeah. The following year, I freaking aced it. Of course, second time around, I was like, I lost half my friends that moved ahead of me in a grade. I didn't like it. And what? I grinded. High school, I had trouble as well. What happened? I stuck to it. I had a tutor, grind it, Today, there's so many distractions, man. This fucking thing that kids today, they absolutely need to have it. The freaking tablets, the freaking this. No, man. Routine, workout, exercise the body, exercises the mind. Stay the fuck away from social media.
Shut up, old man. You had your turn.
Boomer, boomer.
Exactly, right? That's what we get. That's what we get.
I know we heard the same talk when we were doing our shit back in our day, right?
But you know
our
what?
elders.
But you know what?
You have a point. I'm not arguing here.
The truth is that at one point they're gonna fucking realize it. You know when that's gonna be? When it's too late.
Too late.
I'll tell you what the thing though, because like since I was a kid up until now, me being 32, there's a whole lot of. I feel like I've heard this more than so many things in my life. Terrence, you can't do that. Terrence, you can't say that. And I would always ignore that and do and say whatever I want. Now, that has come with various consequences, but I refuse to, I make adjustments on this planet due to humans and their rules and their emotions and stuff like that. However, if it compromises me as a person, I immediately disregard it because I tend to notice when I'm in those situations that these humans want me to work in the realms of their own comfortability, which is too limited for me. I'm just like, no, my comfortability is so far beyond what these humans have told me. And a lot of it comes down to they just have to decide to do it. And sometimes it could work in your favor. But with society, like you said, if they are conditioning and more so programming humans, a lot of humans are really machine-like in the way that they follow these programs, or what they tend to brainwash themselves with. But I'm like, how about you go on a case-by-case basis, which is how I, try to direct my friends. And then that tends to backfire sometimes. They're like, no, you can't. No, well, that doesn't work for me. And I'm like, have you tried it? Because if you tried it and it didn't work, then fine. But how do you know if you don't try it, especially if your way is not working?
I agree. Morning, Yvette. How you doing?
Guys,
Terrence,
what else?
What else, bud? Go ahead.
You might have also had a teacher, and I don't know if anybody's going to get this reference, that was like Ben Stein, just a boring old, like, hey guys, we're going to start the class today. We're going to learn math today. Get out your pencils and your notes. It's like, dude, like, my mom, I'm checked out. Like, you realize it's 2021. We're on social media. You can't have any more Ben Steins in the classroom.
That was my computer teacher.
That's it.
And high school. Yep. And you know what computers we're working at? Apple IIs.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And he used to come in. Hi guys. I hope you had a great weekend. Today we're gonna do our typing test to see how fast we can type on our Apple II computers. That's how he spoke, man.
Wake up. I was like, in there. Well, what's going on? Why do you keep sleeping?
His name was Mr. Godfrey. That was his name.
Oh my God.
Back in Ultramount. Hi.
What were you gonna say, Terrence?
Actually, I was gonna say to Terrence. I agree exactly what he said. It's called people are becoming conformist. They're conforming to what's being said. And you know what, Terrence? Going back to exactly what you're saying about how everyone's is different, right? And you have to work around their strengths and their weaknesses, and work on the weaknesses, and channel their strengths. When I had a burnout after high school, like I said, I had trouble with a lot of subjects, and I wanted to graduate. My father saw me. I got sick. My father came up to me. You know what he said to me? He goes, "You know what? The world doesn't only need doctors and lawyers. We need plumbers, electricians, bricklayers." He goes, "There's honor in those jobs," and he's right. And to this day, I think back and I'm like, "Fuck, why did I do that?" But I was so fixed that I was so tired of him always, all my summers, and Anzo can vouch for this, all my summers working next to him in construction all the time and being pissed because I wanted to be with my friends going to the pool. I wanted to be my friends playing at the park. I wanted to be my friends fucking around. Today, I'm glad that I was there for the things that I learned. But at the moment, I didn't. And that's the vicious circle that happens, right? When you're young and your parents tell you think, "Oh, yeah, dad, oh, whatever." But then you get to that point and you're like, shit. And
teachers are different because when I was going through school, the different areas, I got kicked out of class a lot for different reasons, whether it be, being a class clown, not cooperating with the teacher. But one of the things that got me kicked out the most was that I would tend to combat things that I felt were illogical or silly. Like, how you were saying earlier about, everybody's getting awards and stuff like that. When I would hear certain teachers say to the class, "You're all special and unique," I would always have something to say against that. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And then the teacher's like, "What do you mean, Mr. Harris? How does that not make any sense?" I'm like, because if everyone is special, then no one is special. You don't know the difference. And then, I would try to use like fictional stuff, for example. I'm like, when you have characters, they're not amazing until they separate from everyone that is viewed in that same light, because then you just have, the Amazons, you just have the Kryptonians. But when they go elsewhere, then they become unique. I'm like, ain't no Superman over there. It ain't no Wonder Woman over here. But if you keep telling all these students, "Oh, you're so great, you're so great," I'm like, somebody's got to be average. Somebody's got to be mediocre. That's just the way of the cards. That's just how it works. Some are smarter, some are not. Some are good at basketball, some are good at the plumbing, whatever. But there are levels to this, and these teachers made it sound like everyone is just the greatest thing, and that just always like rattled my brain. I'm like, I think it would be more beneficial to be honest, right? Like, if you like these teachers, like, say if someone were to start singing, right? "Oh, you're so great," and this and that. I'm like, but you don't believe that, right? And they're like, "Well, Terrence, you're not supposed to tell them if you don't agree with it. You gotta let people down easy." And I'm like, that human thing. I'm not gonna do that. They're like, "Well, you have to." No, that's what you do. But I feel like there's more power in honesty. "Oh, you mean brutal honesty?" No, human. I mean honesty. Just being honest. I'm like, sometimes you can even help someone by being honest, because then maybe they actually become better or they make certain preparations, but they tend to look at so many things in a negative light. I'm like, but there's so much that they're missing. And I always found that interesting that, humans would combat me on that instead of looking at the positive stuff from what I'm saying.
Excellent. What up, LG?
Here comes Mephisto.
What up, guys? What's up, yo? You haven't seen nothing yet. What's this pimping background, bro? I'm loving this, bro. This is good. But you know how I do things, bro. You got to turn it up, and I'm gonna play it. Anzo, don't play yours. Give me this one, all right? You can rail me later, but we're gonna turn it up to 11, guys. You know how I like to do things. We do things big.
I am inevitable.
That's right, baby. It's animated. What's up? What's going on? What's up? Turn the flames up. What's going on?
Dude, Mephisto, please leave Wanda alone, man. Leave Wanda alone, dude. Let her.
That's a
let
great
It's not
commercial for
Wanda.
Preparation H.
Oh my God.
Hey,
You
let's
got that burning
act-
feeling? Preparation H takes you right off.
let's not act like Wanda is innocent in all this, okay? Because she messing up.
She's more innocent than the show's showing, though, brother. She wanted to get away. She wanted to get away in her little utopia. That's fine, but she's being f-whiffed on a major basis.
She is, but whoever the person or the group is that is messing with Wanda, they're only playing to what she wants anyway, which is why that's able to work so well.
All right, guys.
In order to manipulate someone, you have to pull from something.
Yeah, we will get into WandaVision another time. Because I know there's a lot of shit. And you guys should actually have a conversation about it, Terrence and LDG, because he might show you some stuff, Terrence, that you might not have noticed. Maybe. But movie, didn't you have something?
Okay.
Movie, didn't you have something you wanted to talk about?
I did. I'm fixing my setup though right now. Hold up. Let me just fix my green screen and shit. No, that's all right. Forget it. So yeah, I just wanted to touch upon what I was talking about last week a little bit. I said it at the exact wrong time in between, tragedy and misery and depression and strip club stories. So I didn't get much of a response, but it was about, how to take care of your money. And it was like a public service announcement for people who, had all that GameStop stock. And I was going to give them a warning. I was going to say, man, don't just follow the crowd. Don't just do what everybody does. But it's too late, man. The stock is dropped. It's like $50 a share. But I'm going to say the same thing, man. Do your research. Research if you're into cryptocurrency or other things and you want to invest your money. But definitely invest in something though, and try to build your wealth.
Absolutely, because I'm looking at this dude that I have on Facebook, and he was like, "Yeah, cryptocurrency," and I don't know when he got it or when he got it, but he said he was up to 61K right now, and I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting." So I went and looked, but I couldn't find any way to how to get it. I seen all these sites say, if you want to do this, and I didn't even bother to read them. But
be careful. Huh?
Yeah, I know a lot of fraud shit.
Because it's not even so much fraud, their fees. They have fees on top of fees, and if you don't know what their going rate is, they'll make a lot more than they're supposed to make. Especially if you're a newbie, you have no idea,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a lot of people are going with this coin. It's called Dogecoin. It was started out as a joke, with that meme of the stupid little dog, the yellow dog face or whatever. And oh, isn't that funny? And it went all the way up from, 0.00001% of a penny to 7 cents, which, I mean, if you put, thousands of dollars in, you're like a millionaire. But, the coin, I wouldn't trust it. I think that it's going to drop. I invested into 2 coins I trust, XRP and XLM, and they're up slow, very, very slow, 5% gain, 5% gain. But I know that they're not just going to randomly crash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know, man.
When you get into that game, you got to be willing to lose, because if you're always going to be safeguarding your money, you're never really going to make. You're just going to get by, And
I made that mistake because cryptocurrency, Bitcoin came to me when it was new, and it was at 3 cents or 10 cents or some shit like that. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll spend $100 and buy some. You know what I mean? And I never did. And then one day I happened to look and I seen, what? 1 Bitcoin is $21,000. I was like,
it reached 40,000 just the other day.
I was like, holy fuck. And then just maybe a month ago, read about this guy who has over $2 million in Bitcoin. He can't remember his passwords. You get 10 attempts and he only has 1 left.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And if he doesn't get it, his shit gets locked and he can never touch that money again. That is crazy, bro. I don't know what I would do, But man, you know, it's like you think it's like, okay, I think I got my password. I think I got it. And then you have to be 100% sure that you know that password on the last one. So,
I have some friends that are big in the investment stuff, and you know, I feel like every other week they're like, T, you gotta invest, or you know, this credit card or whatever, you know, just different things they try to push my direction. And it's been the same way since I was a kid. I'm like, I don't care about money. I get that humans say that it's important, and I understand the uses of it. So I was like, I don't care. So over time, I managed to, you know, get more of it so that way I can be okay. But outside of that, like all these different things that I'm hearing about, I just tend not to have a lot of interest in it.
yeah, I feel you on that one, man. I made the mistake. I didn't take it too seriously. I should have changed that. You know, I should took it more seriously. Then he said,
the problem though, Bitcoin
is worth.
Nope, incorrect. It's 44,000. Not even close.
It's 44,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it was like yesterday or the day before was at 43,000 a coin.
That is crazy.
44,000.
Because Tesla just made a big purchase into Bitcoin, and now they're allowing Bitcoin to be a form of currency between Tesla.
Right. Yep.
So that just shot it up.
You know how much I could have bought at 3 cents a piece if I just put $100 in?
Yeah.
I'd be laughing.
GameStop.
I made some
I'd be
money.
laughing right now.
I made a little bit of money. I made like, you know, whatever, like $8,000 or $9,000. It should have been way more back in 2017. I could have made way more than that if I would have just put more in at the right time, put less in at the right time. So it's helped me learn this time around. But it's been 4 years. Every 4 years, there's been an intake increase. So you know, if you guys want to get in, just do your research and find out, man. You know.
So my question is, how do you get your money out? Because I heard there was a lot of issues with people getting their money out, and I don't know.
No,
if
you
that's
have
the
a
same
wallet. Right now, you can get a card, like a Visa debit card.
I'm freezing now.
There's machines all over the place. You can withdraw money.
Oh, really?
But now it's come a long way. Back in the day, it was a little difficult.
I froze for a second. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, you get it out through Coinbase. Coinbase, you connect to your bank account directly. But yeah, you could have a wallet too, and then just send it through to Coinbase and get your money. Yeah.
For now. Until all banks ban it.
Yeah. But really, I don't know anybody who does crypto through their bank. There's really no association with the crypto and a bank. They're like enemies.
And there's no insurance either.
Because the main reason for crypto is because it's untraceable. Why would you want it being traced through a bank?
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
So
that's supposed to be, that's the function that's supposed to have.
That's what they're trying to change because you know, a lot of people are cleaning money. There's no way to trace it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if they lose their money, there's no insurance on it either.
There you go.
Yeah, I know a lot of humans that would love to have at least $100. You know, I keep hearing about humans losing their jobs and they're on the streets and they can't afford a meal for their family. You know, so I feel like the value of $1 is just so important that I've even seen, you know, humans getting robbed for $10, $20. You know, stuff is not okay on this planet.
I know.
I like to see the value of ourselves increase because the dollar will follow after that.
I got held up at gunpoint in Plemondon Metro after coming back from the amusement park. And all I had in my pocket after that day was 25 fucking cents.
That's crazy.
You have that
and when a guy is telling you, give me all your money, and you pull out 25 fucking cents, man. Believe me, I was like, am I going to die because I have 25 fucking cents?
Bitch, you insult me.
Oh my God. I'm like,
That guy probably said, "No, here, you take the money. Fuck it, you need it more than I do."
I couldn't catch his face, but I'm sure I knew who that fucker was. I couldn't see his face because the guy just goes, "Just don't turn around, don't turn around," and I'm like, "Fuck it." I was like this, sweating, man. I'm like, I just have 25 cents, man. That's all I have.
I mean, luckily that's never happened to me. Like, I've never had that situation, Guy Scar. Fortunately,
I'm knocking on.
Sorry,
Thank
sorry
God,
that
man.
happened to you, but
Yeah.
well, I guess from my position, I mean, I've had guns pointed at me before, but it was by cops. I don't know if that, counts as guns being pulled on you, but
yeah, it does.
I mean, it's just because someone would argue that they're very different, so maybe you should be more or less calm, depending on who you ask. But I'm just like, to me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, to me, a gun is a gun, and in those situations where you got 2, 3, 5 cops, guns pointed at your head, I'm like, and they don't look too happy. I would say that's pretty bad from my perspective.
For
sure.
I agree. So now, what I have to get off my chest. First off, Danny, I knew you couldn't stay away. I knew you'd be here sooner or later. I knew you couldn't stay away.
What up, Danny?
Yeah, what up?
What's up?
So, me and Terrence were talking about some stuff, you know what I mean? And I figured it would be a good topic to talk about because I'm on this platform, and when I come onto other people's streams and stuff, you know what I mean? I act like, when I go on Rob's stream, I'm like, hey, I'm the heart of the soul of the stream. When I go on JJ's stream, I'm like, hey, the star has come, you know what I mean? But deep down inside, I don't feel that way. For the longest time, I felt like the weakest link on Storm's Live and all the shows I've been at, felt like I was the weakest link, So we were talking about, Terrence was telling me some stuff that has happened to him. And I was like, man, Terrence, to be honest with you, if things didn't go certain ways in my life, I probably would have been either dead or in jail, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, when I was growing up, when I was growing up, I couldn't get women. Like, you know what I mean? I got disrespected a lot.
I'm sorry.
No,
God, that was deep.
Listen, I got disrespected a lot, bro. It's no word of a joke. I was chubby kid, you know what I mean? I would even say it took me a minute to really like mature, you know what I mean? I still had little kid things that I did as when I was growing up. And I tell the story to Terrence the other night. So it's like there was this girl I liked, right, one day. And I asked her out on a date. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask this girl out on a date. And I asked her out on a date. And she said yes. Now, I asked her out during the week. It was like maybe on a Wednesday or something like that. And I said, yeah, I will go on Saturday. So I kid you not. The next day, I was coming home from school. I went to the video store, grabbed a movie, and I'm walking home. And the girl's friend is behind me. Now, I cannot remember if the girl that I asked out was there too, or if it was somebody else. But when I think about the way I acted, I think it was the girl that I asked out. So the girl's friend was like, hey, Anzo, you want to go out on a date with me on Saturday? And then they both started busting out laughing. And they made fun of me like fucking nothing all the way up the street. Just kept ragging on me. So I turned around, and it wasn't the other girl. It was just the one girl, the friend. So I turned around and I said, listen, man, if you don't stop fucking bothering me, I'm going to box off your face. I turned around and I kept walking. And I guess she didn't believe me because she kept going. And I have never been the type of person to like beat up on a woman or hit a woman or anything like that. But screw you, Danny. Screw you, Danny. But I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed as fuck. So I turned around and I had the video in my hand. It was a VHS. And you know, when you used to rent a VHS, it used to have that plastic case on it. And I just went bam and smashed her in the face. You know what I mean? And I felt bad for what I did, but she didn't say another word about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Another incident.
Waiting for the right moment.
Be careful. It sets limitation on assault.
I was like,
Did you at least tell her to be kind and rewind? No,
no, I did not. But I think I put the name of the movie on her forehead, basically, you know. But no, I actually didn't really hit her that hard. I just hit her enough to get her to shut up, you know. And the reason why we're talking about this is because, like I said, when I spoke to Terrence about it, I'm like, yo, Terrence, I need you to know that you are not alone. You know, this is what the show is about, because I went through the same type of shits, right? So high school, yeah, I mean, I couldn't, the girls didn't like me, man. It's just a fact. Like, I would hang out with the crew. They would all have girls and everything, and I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I felt like I was the ugly one out of the crew and all kinds of shit like that. So,
man.
That was fucking awesome.
You muted his ass though, right?
I had to unmute myself.
You see, I muted his ass though, right?
We feel you, bro. We feel you. We feel you.
And it was at this moment he realized
he fucked up.
Damn.
So I was in high school.
Now back to our scheduled regular program.
I'd have did the Phantom Zone, but I don't feel like doing that on the show. But nigga, and you're gonna make me say the word. Don't do that shit again. I'm being serious, for real.
All right, man. What the hell, man?
I'm being serious, for real. You know.
All right. Go ahead.
Because it's not just to let them know. Like, people in the chat, they go through this bullying shit and getting disrespected. I was on a Rob Storm stream, and this guy was literally crying, and you know, oh my god, I did this to a girl, and blah blah blah, and this and that. You know what I mean? So serious talk here, for real. So same time, I was in high school, and there was this girl I liked, but she was dating someone else. She broke up with the dude, and we used to talk, you know what I mean? When she was dating him, but she broke up with him, we were talking, and we started talking a lot after they broke up. You know, we were doing things, calling each other on the phone. So it was exam time. So we're like, okay, we have time before the exam. Let's go to Harvey's, you know, let's go eat some food. So she brought a friend, and this guy came along. Now, I can't remember who brought the guy or how he came along, but he came along. We went to Harvey's, we ate, we had a good time, went back to the exam. I went home, called the girl. Girl was like, oh, I can't talk to you anymore because I like your friend. So I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, yo, I mean, I wasn't heartbroken at the time because I didn't really think the girl was so much into me like I was into her, you know? Mm-hmm. But the one thing in high school that changed my life, and the reason why I'm telling this part of the story is because something that like Terrence told me and whatever, and I've never told this story before. I never told the story to anybody before. There was a rumor that one of my friends made about me. When I was growing up, I used to have epic birthday parties, like epic. You know what I mean? Sleepovers. Girls were sleeping over. My friends had sisters who were like 2 years older than us, sleeping over. They were epic. People were like, if I do not get invited to your party, they were mad at me, like literally. I don't know where Geishka was at this time because I think
I remember your birthdays. I remember a lot of people being at your birthday parties.
He was working construction,
but I lived next door, so it's
yeah, I know, right? But it was when I think it all happened because remember at the time, right? My father and Tom had the issue, and then Tom moved in your building, and I think that they kind of like pushed you away from me. So I think that's what happened. That's why you weren't
Yes,
around
yes
those
and no.
times, you
Yeah,
know?
I know. I know what you're talking about. I remember that.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I had a friend, and we had a fight one day. Okay, and I was in grade 6 when it happened. And I was like, yo, I'm not inviting you to my party. Fuck you. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, yeah, you're not inviting me to my party? Not inviting me to your party? Okay. We went to school. And he spread a rumor. And he said, wow, I can't believe I'm saying this.
We
he
know.
told people.
I know what you want to
say. No, you don't.
Go ahead, man. Just it.
He told people that I fucked my dog. Okay? So I was able to squash it, and I thought I squashed it. But years later, when I got to grade 10, it was either grade 9 or 10, there was this guy in my school, and I hate him till this day, because this guy used to rag on me every day. But I was snappy. I was like, he couldn't deal with me. Like, I would diss him all the time. Every time he tried, I would disrespect him. Class would laugh at him. So one day, we're going at it in French class. And he says, weren't you the guy that fucked your dog? All the jokes, all the laughter that I was making on him came to me. And everybody started like going off on me, right? Because now I'm realizing that, even though I thought I squashed it years ago, people were still talking about that shit. And when we got out of class, he told a dude, and the whole school was making fun of me. The whole school, every single fucking person in that school. Well, not every single person, but a lot. It got to the point where they would see me and they would make dog noises, barking. Rawr. So you see that Arsenio Hall shit where they do those barking noises? I swear to you, I kid you not, that started here in Montreal in my school, because they did it every day. Every day.
That was at Shadow?
Nonstop.
Or Northmount?
Yeah.
Shadow.
Every day. Nonstop. And at one point I couldn't take it anymore. I got my hands on a pistol and I went to school with it because I was going to kill him. And it was going on. I went to my locker and they were passing me by and they were like just making the dog noise. And nobody understood what I was going to do, what I had planned to do. And I'm not that person. I couldn't do it. So I broke down and I sat on a bench and I fucking bawled my ass off. And I watched people walk by and just watch me cry. Until one girl came up to me and sat down beside me and was like, oh, don't worry about it, blah, 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 blah. Another girl came up beside me and was like, so the two of them consoled me that day. And they stopped me from killing this guy. I would have been the first person to have had a school shooting. That would have been me. I would have been the first one, So after that, my schooling was never the same. I never wanted to be in school, I used to fail classes. My dad used to be on my ass. I could never tell my parents what I was going through, But the next year, okay, there was this girl, and she was like the hottest girl in the school. I mean, I am telling you, this girl came from the States, right? And the girls in our school weren't built like that, man. They weren't built like
something
that.
In the milk.
Oh my God, they weren't built like that. Everybody wanted this girl. Like even older people that used to just come to the school because they went to school before graduate came back, they were all hollering at this girl. I mean, she was so bad. We did a fashion show, right? And they did a bathing suit thing. And she came out in this bathing suit that I'll never forget, silver, high cut and everything, right? The next day, they put all the pictures of the fashion show up on the wall, and everybody was just looking at that picture. By lunchtime, that picture was gone off of the wall. All right. So me now, I'm at the point where I'm keeping to myself. You know, I have a few friends. I even had a friend, and I asked him, I said, bro, do you really believe I did that shit? And he was like, I don't know. Like, literally, I don't know. A friend. He ended up apologizing to me years later. He was like, I'm sorry I didn't believe you, you know what I mean? But he ended up apologizing to me years later. So anyways, I never spoke to this girl. You know, I'd look at her, whatever. One day I'm in class, and she asked me if I did my homework. So I say, yeah, I did my homework, which I usually didn't do, but that day I did. She said, can I copy it? She said, yeah. And she came and she sat down on my lap and copied my homework on my lap. I am in class. People walking in class, seeing the hottest girl in class sitting on my fucking lap. You know what that made me feel? Like, really, like, oh, fuck, you know? And this girl, like, she would always say nice things to me. This girl would let me touch her. I mean, I would walk up to her locker, grab her ass, grab her titties, everything. She wouldn't say nothing, you know? Wouldn't say a damn word, bro. I am not kidding you.
So did your marks start going up with other things? Or what?
Oh, man, I wanted to bang her so bad, you know? But I knew, like, at the time, she was being nice. I wasn't nothing. I didn't feel like I was anything. But the more she talked to me and the more she treated me good, the more confidence she was giving me, you know? And then she had a friend, another girl came to the school, and that girl came to the school, and that girl, like, kind of took to me too. So I remember we're in detention class, and I'm sitting there talking to these hot girls. Now, both of them guys are talking to them or whatever. One of them was dating someone, but just the fact that they gave me that attention, it really made me feel good. You know what I mean? So that's why I say, I'm like, we all go through our shit. Sometimes I don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Till this day, that shit still follows me. It does. There's nothing I can do about it anymore, because a few years ago, I was dating a girl, like maybe 10 years ago or whatever. And when her friend found out who he was dating, that came up, and she cursed him off or whatever. And she told me, and I'm like, fuck, that's still going around. Like, I can never escape that. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But that's why when I was telling Terrence, I'm like, yo, man, I've been through the same things as you. And if it wasn't for those girls, the two that talked to me that day and the one that treated me good that year, like, I still talk to her now. Like, me and her are friends, you know? And I told her, I'm like, man, when I was talking to her, I told her, I'm like, yo, you used to, you know, did things. And she actually told me, she was like, well, because I was like, she was dating all these big guys and whatever, older guys and shit. And she was like, yeah, she was doing that, but those weren't the type of guys she liked. She liked quiet guys, you know, kind of nerdy type of guys like me. And she was like, you should have said something. And I was like, even if I did, you know what I mean? Even if I did, it wouldn't have been anything. I was just that little kind of brother type of dude, you know? And it took a long time for me to be a confident person. Like, you know, that's why I say, like, when you guys see me on certain streams, that's a persona. But when you watch O.O.C, you get the real me. When you talk to me, you get the real me. Danny knows he's talked to me. Terrence knows he's talked to me. Guys could grow up with me. Roberto knows. You know what I mean? I may act like, confident and all that. I am a lot more confident now than I was before, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, we all have problems that we can get past, even though it seems like it's bad and it seems like there's things that you can't live with. You guys got to realize that you can absolutely get through the things that happen to you in life. I am living proof of that. You know what I mean? Living proof of that.
Okay, so because you said that, Anzo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that happened to you. That's number one. Number two, I want these humans to understand that this is not what I'm going to say is not I have to get it off my chest kind of thing. It's more of I want them to understand in combination of what you were saying about yourself, you know, why you were talking to me. So they can have a more complete picture. Because my I have many chapters to my life. It started in the 4th grade on up, you know, in terms of bullying from different genders and different groups of humans. So, and through it all, you know, I still maintained my confidence despite other, you know, just these humans telling me like, well, you know, you shouldn't do that or you can't or you're not good enough. Like none of that ever mattered. I was always very confident despite being attacked, you know, from these humans. And some of which, you know, claiming to be my friends too. So in terms of to your story, when I was in 4th grade, there was this female that I liked, right? And I saw her, I was like, yep, she looks good as fuck. Like, I'm gonna get her. So I go up to her and I ask her out and I ask her to be my girlfriend. Now, depending on the human listen to this, they might be like, wait a minute, I thought Terrence doesn't do relationships. That's why this is going to be interesting. So, you know, we're together, or so I thought, you know, the holding the hands and the whole nine. I was doing all that kind of stuff. And that was going on for multiple weeks. And we had our area where we would go to. And we sat there, was on the bench, and, you know, we ate lunch together and had conversations, all that stuff. And one day I go to that area and she's not there. So I go to look for this particular female and I find her on the other side of the school where the handball courts are. They had like a volleyball net. And I saw her and she was there with her friends, you know, her girlfriends and stuff. So I go up to her and I was, oh, here you are. What's going on? So her friends and everyone, they just started laughing, you know, and I'm just like, what's going on? And then I noticed that they were laughing at me. And then her friends say to me, oh, you know, you got played. You know, this was a joke, right? So I look to that particular female to see that, you know, she's going to say, oh, no, they're just joking. Everything is fine. And then she says to me, while laughing, like, no, I felt bad for you. This is all a joke. Ha, ha, ha. Like, you got played kind of stuff. So I got upset. And then I sat with that a couple of days. And this was before I started saying humans and stuff. Like, that was like the starting point to that. So after a couple of days, lunchtime happens. Everybody's at the cafeteria for the most part. And I went to get my lunch tray. And, you know, they gave us like a spoon, knife, and a fork and all that stuff. And I grabbed the knife and I stood there for like 5 minutes or something like that. And then I walked over to the cafeteria and then I was like, I told that female, I'm going to kill you. And then I'm going to kill all your friends. And then from there, she backed up into the fence, you know, that whole human laughing and shit. She wasn't doing that. She was actually terrified. And I was happy that she was, because I'm like, you're going to get punished for this shit, you know. And then everybody's running around and shit. And then, of course, you know, the teachers come out and then I end up in the principal's office and I got in trouble and they told me, okay, you can't do that. And we're sorry that happened to you. But from my perspective, I was like, these humans are not sorry. Like, humans just say that because that's the right thing to say. I'm like, they didn't feel shit. They were so dismissive of it. Like, yeah, you messed up. You know, to me, I was translating it as like, boo-hoo, you know, go back to class kind of shit. So and then, you know, like 3 weeks pass and then they decide to expel me from that school because everybody was afraid of me, and including the female and all of her friends. And I'm like, I was like, well, they should be, you know, they did me wrong. And I did say outright that I was going to murder them. And I was like, I didn't feel bad about it. Even at that point, I was like, no, you get what you fucking deserve. That's how I felt. So I ended up going to another school, and some of the humans there were aware of that situation, but they didn't have the context of those humans screwing me over. They just made it sound like I had, randomly wanted to murder individuals. So that's just one of the situations. But I mean, there are so many. And it was at that point, after all the bullying and stuff, at least up until that point of the age of 14, when I said to myself, if I don't come up with something, I'm going to kill myself, because the humans are not helping me. The friends are fucking useless. The father is constantly insulting me and shit, verbally. And I was like, I have to help myself. There was no help. Terrence had to help Terrence. So I had to kill myself and start anew. So this Terrence that you're talking to now and listening to is me as I am, starting anew from the other Terrence that I had to kill to begin my journey of strength. The mental training, all the calisthenics and weightlifting and martial arts and stuff. I went through that by myself. Of course, you had the masters and stuff teach me how to fight. But in terms of me building up my mental and physical strength, that was all me. There was no help, because the humans around me, they never had the words. And I'm not talking about the whole I'm sorry or what happened, the typical stuff. I'm talking about the right words to pierce through what's left of my soul kind of shit. They just didn't know how to communicate effectively with me. And I didn't expect that, because by that point, I was like, well, I'm so fucking strong that I no longer require help. I don't need emotional support. I don't need none of that shit. So I'm like, I can move forward on my own. And I'm like, this is what real strength means. It means that when you are in the darkness by yourself, that it doesn't matter what opponent shows up, that you're able to deal with it. Boom, boom, boom. And you're not looking to your left, your right, in front of you, behind you. Who's going to help me now? Or I'm depending on religion or any of that kind of stuff to help me. I'm like, no, my source of strength is myself. And that happened due to the training that I've been doing for a little more than 18 years now. And it's still going. It's still not complete. But that's why I'm so strong. Not just because of that one situation, but all the bullying, some racism, getting grabbed, put up against the locker, crowds of humans laughing, and all kinds of shit that happened over my entire school life for the most part. Like a lot of the physical stuff, it stopped, but that's because, I got bigger and stronger and I could just like fucking kick somebody in their throat and they'd be dead as fuck kind of shit. So they weren't really trying to mess with me on that level, but humans will still say stuff, right? So there still was some of that. So it just kind of went into different forms. But I'm just like, man, I had these friends and shit. They're like, oh, T, what can we do? Or I'm like, you're too fucking late. I'm like, when I needed help, there was nobody there. I'm like, that shit is old and dead. You should have came during chapter 2. We on chapter 200 and something now. You're late as fuck. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the gestures, but I like the fact that I can sit in the darkness and that I can be by myself and that I'm completely comfortable in doing so. And I feed off of my own energy, which allows me to move forward every single day that I wake up.
Absolutely.
So, that's just part of the Terrence equation. It's not so much like, I wake up and there's all this like drama and stuff. This is just part of it. And I'm very confident and open to talk about anything because I don't feel shame or embarrassment. It's like, if you want to know what's up, then you ask me and then I will tell you. And it's as simple as that. But at the same time, oftentimes when I tell humans stuff, they're very dismissive or, oh, he's lying, or that can't happen like that, or that's not possible, just because they can't do it. So they dismiss the stuff that I actually can do. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, well,
in a way.
No, I
was just gonna say, I don't know if you agree with this, but in a way, and I can relate to this, is I'm glad they didn't get you in chapter 2, because it could have just delayed the inevitable, or stopped the transformation from happening, from what you went through, because it sounds like that's what you needed to go through. I like how you said you killed yourself in order to be reborn. Mine was a little bit more taking the red pill. I was tired of being a blue pill. And the day I took the red pill, an entire new world opened up to myself. And it required all the same thing that you said. Blue pills, they take information from they're dependent on information from everyone else. They're dependent on the outcomes everybody else gives you. When you take the red pill, it's all you. Everything you do is for yourself. You have to be strong, whether it's religion or your education or physical health. You have to do it yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And that just seems to be a recurring motif, no matter how you theme it. But yeah, I tell people that. It's like, well, I could have helped you. I'm like, no, listen, I'm glad you didn't, because all you would have done was postpone what I had to do in the first place. So, you know what I mean?
I can kind of.
I get what you're saying. Like, I get what you're saying, but for me, if certain chapters were removed, I probably would have turned out differently. There's a possibility that I might have gotten to it eventually, but that's a maybe, because
maybe
there were so many of these chapters. It's not like it just was one or two where it was like, well, okay, they were so continuous that I had to do something to help myself, because the humans were of no help, regardless of the ones that might, prop themselves up like, oh man, I was there for Terrence. Like, no, the fuck you weren't. Like, where were you? Like, and I just have to check them and let them know, which is odd, because sometimes I have individuals in my circle, they like to take a lot of credit for my efforts, which is really silly. Instead of them, putting themselves in a position to be supportive, they try to take credit. Like, that shit is just that face palming, what are you doing kind of shit. Like, calm down. So, for me, I have help, but I'm the kind of guy where, I'll do stuff, and then my friends will say, well, Terrence, how come you didn't come and get us? Or we would have did this and that. And I'm like, because like, I'm so strong that I feel like I can do it by myself. This is not so much that I don't have any other options. It's just that I tend not to take them. It's like when you play a video game and you have other options of things you can choose from. I tend to just go what I want. I'm like, I see all this other shit, but I'm like, nah, I'll be good. Terrence can do it on his own kind of stuff. And for the most part, I've been correct. But I also don't have that problem that a lot of humans have with pride. If I need help and I can't do it on my own, then I have no problem of asking for help, should it come down to that.
And Roberto, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, there's many forms of bullying. I was somewhat of a bully when I grew up, because I felt like the system more or less turned me into one. But that's not where I really want to go. I want to show how I was somewhat bullied, because growing up, I felt like I was popular. Like, I didn't have a hard time making friends, but it always seemed like the one who was more or less the leader, or the more popular person, was always threatened by me, even though I didn't pose a threat. I didn't give any signs that I wanted whatever power that person thought they had, or whatever situation they're in. But yet they were always jealous of me, and I always clashed with them. And that's how I found that, I guess I'm a lone wolf. I'm better by myself, because when I'm by myself, I can't hate myself, And then when you do what I did, which is what I like to call the third person perspective, when I was in a dark place, crying and feeling sorry for myself, I took a step back and looked at me, and I didn't like what I saw. And I said, this is not who I wanted to be. why am I allowing people to predict my situation and where I am now? Meanwhile, while I'm here feeling sorry for myself and crying, they're out there going on with their life. So, you know, my brother once told me, bro, you know, they're always talking about you, bro. How do they talk about you? And I don't know who he's referring to, but all I tell him is, you can't control what people are going to say about you. Some people are going to like you. Some people are going to dislike you. Some people are going to be jealous of you. Some people are envious of you.
Absolutely.
But as long as you acknowledge them, you give them power. Therefore, you're giving it existence. If you treat it as, I wake up alone, I go to sleep alone, or I'm around the people that love me and that's all I really need, and everything else is an encounter, they don't phase you and affect you as much. And, you know, I only wish I realized this 25 years ago. But we can't determine when we learn. We just only hope that we do eventually learn.
That is correct.
Right. And wait, go ahead on.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, and Gaishka could tell you, I was a bully too. When I was a little kid, I used to bully these guys. You know what I mean? I did. Like, if you didn't want to do what I wanted to do, then you can't come in my house, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. You know what I mean? And it was, for me, it was the single child mentality that I had, right? Because I was very spoiled as a kid, because my mom couldn't have kids and she was lucky to have me. So they gave me everything that I wanted. And when I didn't get what I wanted, then it was like an issue. You know what I mean? But one thing I will say is that everything that I've went through in my life, I would not change a damn thing, because I am who I am now, and because of everything that I've went through, I am a better man than I could ever be. So I wouldn't change it. Shit still hurts sometimes, but I wouldn't change it.
Two things. Number one, if I were able to time travel like the Flash, I would probably think about beating the shit out of my younger self for being so weak. Like, in any of those like moments of hesitations, like, I just see my younger self like, you remember when you were thinking about that shit, Terrence? You should have did the other shit. Like, it's like there were times where I had the right notion, but it was just this whole give the humans a chance, right? Because, you know, they're always saying that you don't know until you try, blah, blah, blah. And then I do it, and then some shit happens, and it turns into all these events, and I'm like, so much for that shit. So, and then, so there's that. Number two, when I was younger, I realized that the shit that I was watching and reading about, whether it be, you know, action movies, martial arts, comics, whatever the fuck it was, I'm like, there is no Justice League or X-Men or none of that shit where, you know, when you have someone that is suffering and being jumped on by everyone else, there's not going to be a special group that's going to come and save you. Like, you got to save yourself most of the time, you know, so that's what they don't tell you. They like to, you know, paint a lot of fantasies and fiction, right? Oh, you're going to meet other people with powers. You're going to meet other special people. Oh, don't worry, you're going to get the girl. It's all going to work out. And I'm like, that's so unrealistic. And when I found that out as a kid, I was like, oh, okay. So this is not like a definitive thing. This is like sometimes and sometimes not. So the question is, I said to myself, like, what the fuck are you going to do about it, Terrence? And then that's when I started making, you know, actual moves to make myself and my existence better.
And you see, that's the thing. You went through martial arts and shit, and all I did, I just grew a thick fucking skin, bro. I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I know who I am. I know who my true friends are. And that's why I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck what people think about me. Like, if you want to think certain ways about me, you can think certain ways about me. You can say I'm this, I'm that, but I know who I am, and I know the people on this panel know who I am, and the people that hang around with me and talk to me know who I am, and that's all that fucking matters to me. Anybody else, I don't give a fuck.
That's facts, yeah. I mean, like, Anzo, if I'm gonna be honest, this is what martial arts did for me. It made me more violent, is what it did at first, right? Like, I was like Raphael and shit from the Ninja Turtles. I always wanted to fuck somebody up, right? The Master Splinter would talk to him and, and tell them to calm down. So that's martial arts just, made me more violent and made me to where I was like, okay, now that I have these moves, if some human says something and I feel like, you know what, I'm gonna fuck this human up, I would actually be able to do it, and that I could do it in a way to make the other humans think twice if they're gonna do something stupid. So like it was that, and then it turned into the whole, I shouldn't do that. Luckily, the masters managed to convince me that, like, okay, you shouldn't. You're a talented martial artist, but you need to not look for opportunities to hurt others just because you've obtained skills. And then through my mental training is what saved me. So martial arts was not a saving grace. It was actually more gasoline on the fire at first. Yeah. So, but I'm glad I did it though. Yeah.
Absolutely, you know what I mean? And even me, like at the point, it's like, yeah, fuck you. I would go people's face, fuck you. You know what I mean? If you want to fight, let's do it. You know what I mean? But what you're saying and what you're doing right now is not going to hurt me anymore. To this day, I don't let people. You can say what you want to. Sometimes it bothers me, but not to the point where I'm going to dwell on it and feel like, oh my God, this. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you. and that's what I learned from it. So. I say it over and over again. I would never change anything I went through. My parents' death, my house burning down, my dog dying, all of that shit. I wouldn't change a damn thing, because when my parents died, it changed me. You know what I mean? Made me a better person as well. Sad to say, but I was able to learn how to do things on my own and just, you know what I mean? Like, because when you have your parents, it's like, oh. I'm broke, Mom, can I borrow this? Mom, can I borrow that? Right? But when they're gone and you don't have that anymore, and you got to start thinking differently, and I thought a lot differently. It took a long time. I'm not even going to lie. It took a long time. But at the end of the day, this is where I am today. So I wouldn't change a damn thing.
You gotta channel it, right? Because I had rage, right? So I had to channel that, because I was thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. I can't do shit with sadness or depression, but I have rage. Like, if I can channel this, then I'm going to be fucking amazing. But I have to figure out how to channel it first.
Absolutely. Anybody else got anything?
I think we all have this anger, like, I think my downside is my anger, and that's how I started smoking my weed for whatever reason. And if the weed isn't the thing calming me down and it's all psychological, then it's still doing the job. But my anger issues is like almost like that Bruce Lee thing, it's passed down generation after generation. I saw it in my dad. I see it in me. And I don't want to be that person. I never wanted to be that person. And it would be so easy for me to, pass blame for it. Scenarios, situations, blah, blah, blah. It just comes down to this. If you're not happy with yourself, only you can change
it. Absolutely.
And if you don't take the time to reflect, it's not as easy as it sounds. You might have to hit a real low, but that real low will bring you to a higher high.
Anzo, I wanted to tell you this, man. So a year ago, my friend's dad, he had called me, right? And he said to me, Terrence, if you're experiencing rage, you should try meditation, right? And from that moment, I was like, hold on. So you were talking to your son, who's my friend, right? And I was like, okay, so he must have took a piece of information, because I was like, first of all, I already meditate on a regular basis. That is a requirement for my mental training. And I was like, I appreciate the notion, but he was missing a piece where I was telling him that I got rid of my rage. Like, if I want to, I can summon it, but this is not where it was a constant, like 24-hour, I need to hit something kind of thing or else. And then he kind of went, okay, Terrence. And I just thought that was funny, because it seemed like he just had so much to tell me, but it was only because he took a piece of the information. That, so I thought that was a funny situation. I was like, no, thank you for the sentiment, but Terrence is good. Thank you. Yeah. Can I talk to your son? Like, and that's how that went.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Anybody else?
Oh man, you talking about what happened to you, bro, in high school, man, brought me I don't know, man. It's rough. You know, I was picked up growing up where we grew up. I was the odd one out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that happened to me on a daily basis. People on Plemondon, people on Barkley. Every time I hung out with a lot of people, I was getting picked on because I was the only white kid there, and it was easy to do, I guess. And I didn't stand up for myself back then. But when you were saying about your birthday party, I started thinking a lot. I started going back to what going on. And I remember that was one time that I got into a scrap with Travis. And this was around the 6th grade, you said, right? So when you guys were in the 6th grade, I was in the 5th grade. And I already got pulled out of Coronation, and I went to Bedford during that time because of something that happened at Bedford. Because I was getting picked on over there too, and then we got in trouble. We got sent to Mr. Williams' office. Remember Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
I remember it was me, you, Travis, someone else, and we got in shit for something. And he grabbed the ruler, and he hit he hit Travis, the principal. And I remember after that, his father Tom went to the school and punched the shit out of the principal. And after that, my father says, "That's it. You're out of that school." And took me out of that school, went to Bedford. And then when it came to high school, I remember hearing something was going on. And I remember that time it was right after Northmount moved to Shad. And I remember my dad goes, "Are you going to go to Shad?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no. I'm not going there. I lived it through Coronation. I'm going to go." And that year, I got into a fight with Travis, and that's when I stopped. My dad kept me working with him all the time, even more, and I just started hanging with a different crew, because at that point, when you were already living on Plemondon, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm said, listen, if I'm going to hang out with people that don't have my back and don't have my best interest, then what's the point, right? So that's when I took a decision, and that's when I took the decision to part ways. Right. And you know, I'll know what happened after, right? The years went by, and you know, he got killed.
Listen. So rest his soul, because Travis was one of our originals. It was me, you, and Travis, but he was a prick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it, but
yeah, he had his attitude, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is that I remember when he got stabbed. I remember him coming to talk to me. I remember sitting on the steps. I was raking the grass after cutting it, and he was eating his Kentucky Fried Chicken with his, with his gravy and stuff like that. And I just said, and I'm like, dude, man, join the army like your brothers. That's I was saying it. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, it was gone. And I wasn't really talking to him. I like I said, it was disconnect, right? I was doing my thing. I know his mom and his dad had separated and shit, but it's still hard, man. No matter how bad a person, sometimes that's not the way to go out. But you live by your decisions, and shit happens, right? But all I'm saying is that, like you said, I wouldn't change it for a bit. Like, I knew everybody on the street. I knew who they are. I knew what they were doing, and besides being bullied, I remember people coming, and I'm not going to name names, people coming to me after they spent hard time in jail, and they stopped me at the corner store, and they said, "You know what? You always took everything we gave you and bothered you." I'm like, I went to jail. Look at you. I respect you. You never spoke to anybody about anything when they approached you. And I'm like, no, it wasn't my place. I just respected everybody, and I got respect back, even though I was bullied the majority of the time by these people. But it made me who I am. And not only that, when I went to high school after, man, do you think I let those people in my other high school get work with me? Fuck no.
Absolutely.
But it's not easy. It's not easy being the odd man out. And once like I said, once I saw that people around me weren't having my best interest, and they said you were friends, but they weren't really friends, Not for me, man. But
that's an interesting reaction, because when I saw, like many years later, when I saw one of the humans that bullied me at a Best Buy, my first reaction was that I smiled and I was like, I am going to snap him like a twig in front of the rest of these humans. Like, I didn't do that, but he he saw me and he's like, oh, Terrence. And, I was, bigger and stronger at that point. And, he was behaving differently. And I just was kind of looking at him like, he's like, I remember you, Terrence. I was like, yeah, I remember you too, human. Yep. How you doing? Yep. I was just ready,
Mm-hmm. And to go back a little bit what Gaishka said, well, you remember the issues that my parents had with Travis, right? Like you
vaguely,
remember that?
I vaguely, yeah. And on honesty, when that shit was going down, I remember my dad. His exact words to me was, in Spanish, was "No te metas," means don't get involved. He said, "Don't get involved." And they go, "It has nothing to do with you. Don't get involved." Because I know it got heated. I remember your father and his father hollering at each other like crazy, man.
They were gonna fight. But even with all of that, when I told my dad Travis died, he cried.
Of course.
Dude. He cried. He was like, yo, what the fuck? He couldn't believe it, you know what I mean? And it's like and sorry about that, guys, but he's seen Tom. And he talked to Tom for the first time in over 20 years when that happened. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But that was the thing, right? With my father, your father, and all these, that's the thing back then. You guys can curse each other the fuck out. And I remember an argument and stuff. I don't know, it was with my dad and your dad, I think. And some dude on the street just walking by started saying, hey, screaming at my dad because he was screaming at your dad. And your dad turned around and shut the fuck up, mind your own damn business. And that's how it was.
My dad's like
it was
that.
That's how it was. And there was total respect because they can argue about whatever, but if your dad needed something and was in a jam, no matter what they argued about, they would have each other's backs, right? And that's how it was. Black, white, yellow, purple, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Things change after you get through with the public school indoctrination camp is what I call it, where it's like they don't have to put on a front anymore. The second you throw that cap and gown off, it's like, oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? It's like, I never liked you, man. Why are you like pretending that you're my friend, dude? But because back in high school, it's like you have to put somebody down to get your own respect because you couldn't just do it on your own accord. You couldn't, show that you're good at something. You have to put somebody else down and say, you suck, you're not good at this and that. Luckily, I found the things that I was good at. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't good at sports, but I was grateful I found, the arts and other things like that. And, when you're not, an athlete, when you're not the best center and the best point guard, whatever in the school, or the best quarterback, people, they look down on you like, oh, you're in chess club, you're a nerd, you play Magic the Gathering. But that was where I found myself. Like I was on top. That was what I learned. Like I was good at those things. I was good at music. I was good at singing, whatever it is. And getting out of high school, I realized, like looking back, like we only had 66 kids in my graduating class. We were a very small district. So I was like, there wasn't really much there, man. I didn't miss out on too much. It was kind of a joke. So now I'm happy. I'm happy with my life after school, man.
Hey,
it's funny. It's funny what. Sorry, man.
No, go ahead, guys. Go you first.
It's funny what you said about the whole high school thing. Hey, how you doing? Because recently, I was put in a group on Facebook about my high school because I graduated from Wager, right? Because my high school over here, because of the whole French and English situation, English schools are decreasing in number, so I had to jump schools twice. So they put me on a group, and I went to Wager High, where I had a higher class society that went to that school, and you had kids, like girls come into school in their dad's Benzes and Beamers and shit, right? And all these people that were like so fucking stuck up, right? And when I would tell them where we lived and stuff, and they looked down at you, right? So it was like two groups. You had the snobs, then you had, the uptowners and stuff like that, and then the ones that integrated, that want upturners that wanted to be and were accepted by them because they gave them weed and stuff, right? So they were accepted. So there was a few of them that were real bitches and bastards, man. And in this group, they're like, "Oh my God, hi, how are you?" And I'm like, I was the only one real in that fucking chat. I'm like, oh, now you're giving me time of day? I'm like, fuck. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And they're like, oh man, that was in the past. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Also, it was a bad week for me, so I was like really like cutting.
I bet you a lot of them wasted mommy and daddy's money. And
for sure.
Do anything
the majority were saying how they inherited their mom's house in Hampstead and in Westmount and stuff like that. That'll be like your Beverly Hills or whatever, right?
Yep.
You know, that I inherited. I'm like, oh, cry me a fucking river, you know, type thing. I was like,
yeah, that shit was whatsoever. Silly. Like, what do they say? Oh, it's in the past. You got to forgive me. I'm like, I'm not mad at you anymore, but I'm not going to forget what you did. Like, we're not going to sit down and have tea, motherfucker. You need to get out of my face. Like, I just be letting them know. Like, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
You were that much of an asshole that it's unforgivable.
I'm like, look, I just wanted them to keep on pushing. You know, I'm just like, if you're different, that's good. I'm glad to hear that you're not, you know, grabbing people and then putting them and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not trying to be your friend, human. Goodbye.
Danny, you've been quiet. You got anything to input, bro?
Danny's a good listener.
I think he's out of chips.
I ain't got nothing to. If I could go upside your head right there, I would snap your ass out of existence if I had.
Wouldn't that be assault?
I don't have nothing to say to get off my chest because y'all went like super deep. And as you know, I'm a believer that some things go to the grave, so I'm not going to put anything of my business on the air like that. But I will say I commend y'all for doing that. And I will say, and I'm not defending bullying because I never was bullied, but I am a believer, and I believe that God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. And I believe that the road that Anzo took led him to what a man he is today. I believe the road that God sent Terrence to made him the man he is today. Same thing with Basco, same thing with Roberto, same with everybody on this channel. And from the outside looking in, it looked like good fellas to me. If I didn't think you weren't about nothing, then I wouldn't be on this channel. I wouldn't call you friends. I wouldn't have nothing to do with you because I believe God has given me the sense to judge people and make a pretty fair assessment of it. It has saved my life many a days, or I trust my gut. I trust that sixth sense, that spider sense, whatever you want to call it. I trust that. If I get a bad feeling, I don't too much mess around with you. But my dad is a preacher, and so is my mom, and they always tell me stuff. And I am a true believer that he's not going to put more on you than you can bear. And sometimes God takes the most sad and most broken people and then rebuild them and strengthen them so they have a testimony. So all the stories that you told today, especially Terrence and Anzo, is going to help people that's listening to the chat. And it starts one person at a time, and it snowballs into something bigger. So I can't tell the stories that y'all told because I haven't been bullied. But I'm in a position now that if I see it, I can identify it. And I have in my toolbox some of the things that can help people that were in your situations maybe get out your situations. So I think I was put in that position. I'm not saying biblical, but I believe that God guides our paths, and that maybe now hearing what y'all said will definitely make me be more aware of it. Or if I hear stories like that, I can say I know some of that. So maybe I can put that SRO, the school resource officer, that I'm had this happen to be with all the school resource officers. So when I hear these things, I can say, hey, you might want to get this child to the counselor or whatever the case may be. You may want to get DSS involved. I have the power to do that. So, again, I commend you for your stories. And I'm sorry it happened to you, but like I said, that might was the pressure that you needed when you were small pieces of coal, and now you're finally diamonds. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I really appreciate that sentiment, Danny. But at the same time, I cannot wait to talk to God. Like Danny, like I get it, but sometimes in life, like I feel like I've talked to you before about certain things that I have in store when I actually encounter this particular deity, because I got too many questions, too many. You know what I mean? So
we all say that. We all say that, Terrence. But I believe when we make that transition, it's going to be such. Well, if you're a believer, if you're naming in the book of life, you ain't gonna be answering shit. You're gonna be down there talking to old Lucifer. But if you are in the book of life and you believe in that, you're gonna be so happy because all the pains and all this mess that we experience down here will be no more. So now in your human form, in your human state, you'll be like, yeah, God, why you do that? But if you happen to be the one that's in the book of life, he calls your name, you walk through the gates, you get your wings, you ain't gonna be thinking about that.
I hear you, Danny, but sometimes in life, there's going to be differences, and Terrence is going to have his questions. Hold up, before I continue through these pearly gates, I got a lot of questions.
You're gonna be like Jesse Custer, man.
You're holding up the line. Next.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say Jesse Custer from Preacher. I'm like,
you're on that
like,
Jesse
no,
Custer
you gonna answer my questions?
Roberto, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm just listening.
Okay, I thought you said something.
I'm good.
I used to be the same way.
You know what?
Yeah, I used to be the same way. I used to think I had a lot of questions for the Almighty or the universe or whatever you call it. And I know how this is going to sound, but understand it's not what I mean. I just found out I wasn't listening, and I had a lot of a lot of questions answered when I found out. You just need to you need to change how you listen when you ask the questions. And I had a number of those questions asked. So if I were front to God right now, I'd most likely give him a high five. Yeah.
LDG, you better stop messing with Wander. He's not going to let you in there, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, and one more thing. I'm not going to go into my childhood as far as growing up, or else I'd have to play that music again. But the one thing that Terrence said, yeah, I'll play it. Well, I'll have to play it for myself. Yeah. But the one thing Terrence said, he struck a chord with me because it was something I thought about when I was in school. Because I wasn't actually a person. I was always identified as other people, as third person. I never felt like I had an identity in school. I was always that odd person out, which allowed me to do things other people just didn't think they had an option to be. Is when Terrence said about being the Flash and time traveling. And it's funny that you say that, because how many of us have had that thought where you said, oh, if I wish I could go back in time right now and know what I know now, or do what I do now, and all this fun stuff. When I was in high school, when I was in school, middle school, actually, I learned something. And that is never allow the obvious to happen. Because if the obvious has happened, you can tell the future because it's obvious. And in every situation, I always identified the obvious and did the opposite. If I saw someone was going to get bullied, or I saw a situation happening, I identified the obvious and I threw my own dice on the board and made sure the obvious didn't happen. In my own mind, that was changing the future. That was time traveling for me. That's how I saw it. So whenever something happened, like I said, whether I saw someone else getting bullied, or if I saw someone having a hard time, or I saw a conversation talking to an adult and knowing that they're about to say, "Oh, don't worry about it. You're fine." You know, all the situations we've had to deal with, that helped me think outside the box and take that left turn. And I had to, because if you do the obvious is going to happen, and that leads you down a road that so many people end up falling into, and end up, which might be the person you were talking to that got stabbed. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
Okay. Let me make this clear. I meant what I said earlier when I said I get my strength from myself. You know, I do believe in God and Jesus, but at the same time, I never, ever ask them for anything, because I like to do stuff myself. You know what I mean? So that's where my strength comes from me. So if someone tries to tell me that it's coming from this or that, no. It's coming from me. I had to do this myself. We all have choices to make in life, and I chose to do certain things for me. There wasn't like some kind of sprinkle in the sky, and then it's like, down this road, Terrence. No, hell no. I had to do that.
Absolutely. And you're right, because I had to do it too. You know what I mean? I had to break out of my depression that I was in. I had myself. I was alone for 5 years. I had nobody, but I had to do it myself. You know what I mean? I had to change the way that I thought about life and how I thought about my life. And I was so bad in the depression that my son didn't even matter at that point. You know what I mean? And when I go back and I think about it, that's the reason why I'm still here. It's him. So you got to do.
If you're a believer, I said, if you are a believer, God gives you free will. He doesn't want to make you do anything. He wants you to do it willingly. So I'm not saying I don't know what Terrence went through, but how do I explain this? People like to say that. I'm gonna get this off my chest. In my career, I've always tried to do things like what Terrence say: do it myself. When I was a sergeant, I did everything in my power to try to become a lieutenant. I never made a lieutenant because I was trying to do it like Danny way. So when I finally, I jumped over lieutenant, but I jumped over lieutenant when I said, well, I'm tired of doing stuff and trying to fail. I'm going to just put it in God's hands and let things roll. So I did that. About 2-3 months later, I became an investigator. Didn't see it coming. Didn't want it. Wasn't even think about it. But the door opened. And there's a saying, when God closes one door, he opens another. So that's the way I went to investigator. Did that for a while. Then the devil got in the way because he got into my chief. My chief did something that was dirty. When I asked him, could I do something? He said, yeah. He went on vacation, came back, thing changed. So I had to leave that department because I was ready to put hands on him. And if I put hands on him, I would lose everything I worked for. So the department that I'm at now, I've been trying for several years to get there. Could never get there doing what Danny, all the skills, all the knowledge I had, wasn't good enough. Just so happened the guy that could hire me was good friends with my dad that I didn't know about. I mentioned it to my dad. I said, I can't get to this place because this captain won't hire me. He keeps saying no. He said, you talking about Merk Baker? I said, yes, sir. That was captain's name. He said, tell him O'Neill, which is my dad's name. Say, what's up? Next time I saw this, the captain, I told him what my dad said. He said, O'Neill, your son, your dad? Yes, sir. I got a call the next night. Come to the office, talk to the sheriff. I said, I'm working. He said, come to the office, talk to the sheriff. I came to the office, talked to the sheriff, got hired in 10 minutes. Not because of what Danny did, but because God closed that door, but opened another one through my dad. My dad knew this guy, so I came in there. Fast forward in that, I tried to do everything because I wanted to be captain over a certain division. I did everything that Danny, I kind of put God to the side. I'm gonna do this my way. I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Couldn't do it. So I finally said, well, I'm happy with what I got. Came in one day, you sheriff say, Danny, what you want to be in patrol? What you want to be when I take office? Say, I want to be a lieutenant of patrols. That's been my dream. He said, well, I ain't gonna make you lieutenant of patrol. And I said to myself, well, what the fuck you asked me for? You ain't gonna make me captain. He said, I'm gonna make you captain. So I was like, damn, nice. Captain was hot. But it wasn't no patrol, it was over another part of the division. Wasn't what I wanted, but it was still better than what I had. So I do that, knock it out the park. Certain number of years, he called me in his office one day, out the blue. He said, Daddy, I'm making some changes, and I need you to do this for me. And he showed me the paper, and the paper said, Captain, well, it said, over patrol. He said, I'm gonna make you a patrol. I'm gonna give you a raise, blah, blah, blah. So I'm happy because I finally got what I wanted. But what I didn't see in the small print was that the captain position went to a major position. So when I did stuff, try to do it my way, I never got nothing. When I put it in God's hands, I got what I wanted and more. So I say all that to say this is that sometimes when you think it's Terrence or Anzo or Roberto or Gaspar or Danny, it ain't. It's that higher power. I believe in that. There have been times when I ain't had no way how I'm going to pay a bill. There's something magical or something come in or a job will come up with security.
Absolutely.
It ain't Danny.
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying, I believe. And I believe that if you try to do what's right, I'll try to do what's right. I ain't perfect, but I try to do what's right. And if I can help somebody, I have seen those blessings come back on me. So,
amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And I respect that. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, I definitely believe, but I just when I was a kid, I said to someone that was talking to me, because they said kind of what you said, right? You know, put it in God's hands. And I said specifically, I can't wait to get my hands on God, right? So you fast forward some years, and I was in the theater, and I saw Punisher Warzone. And Frank Castle, while talking to a priest, he said the exact same thing. And, you know, from that, I got chills because I was like, yo, a fictional character just said what I just said. And the feeling was like the same. It was like, okay, they're saying to do this and that this is happening, but we can't see it in terms of like, okay, if I just sit back, is this going to happen? Because it doesn't look like it is. So at that point, you make a decision to take the wheel. Like, you know what? I could let a deity drive or do this, this, and that, but I'm like, how about I drive it instead and see what happens, you know?
I'm going to go a little bit on what Danny said because I agree with him. I have two stories, okay? One time, it was Valentine's Day. I was talking to this girl that I really liked, and she wanted to go out, and I was flat broke. I had nothing. I'm telling you, zero. Right? I didn't even have the 25 cents in my pocket. I went. I went to Movieland. Remember Movieland, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I went to Movieland to go return a movie. When I got into Movieland, there was a $50 bill right on the floor, right there. I'm dead ass, bro. $50 bill right there. And all she wanted to do was go to a movie, and $50 was enough for me to take her to a movie. My second story, when my mom was passing away, my mom was in the hospital, right? And when she was diagnosed, you guys know she diagnosed with cancer or whatever, but she got into a state where she didn't realize what was going around her, nothing. She was sleeping all the time, but she was in the hospital bed and she was talking to herself. And she said, give me 72 hours. And then she asked if my dog, she said, is Rumble coming? No, Rumble's not coming. My mom died 3 days later. And then my dog died a couple months later. So there is something there. There is something there. She asked for 3 days. I don't know why 3 days, but she asked for 3 days. She asked for 72 hours, and she died 72 hours later. So
yeah, it's crazy. My mother-in-law too. She was really religious, and she fought stage 4 colon cancer for 8 years. And a lot of times she said, "Give me enough strength to know to stick around until I know my kids are good." And that's exactly what happened, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember when I was hanging out with my friends, right? And we were getting ready to watch Lucifer, that DC show. It's now on Netflix. And I had said to them, I'm like, don't you think it's odd how whenever something good happens, humans say God. Whenever something bad happens, they say the devil. And they are often giving God and devil too much credit when they forget that they have free will. They have choices. And then depending on the choices you make will determine which one you see, depending on if you believe in that. And sure enough, we watched Lucifer. And when Lucifer is talking to his therapist, he says the exact same thing I did. And in that moment, my friends looked at me. They're like, they just all turned. And I was like, I didn't know that was going to happen in the show. But I'm like, somebody wrote that in there because I'm not the only one that thinks that. It's just, it was an interesting coincidence that it just happened to be in that context where, you have the devil speaking and stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't know that was going to happen. But regardless, that doesn't change the thought pattern. But again, I'm not the only one that thinks of it in that way if it finds itself in entertainment.
Well, no pun intended. I'm going to play devil's advocate. There's always been said that the devil's greatest power and greatest trick is to make people think he doesn't exist. So if you think he doesn't exist, then you're going to be like, oh, man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I mean, if you believe in the Bible, God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because he could only find one man in his family that was worthy of being saved. This right here, what we're doing now is straight up Sodom and Gomorrah. You see it every day on TV. People.
You froze a bit. That's why, Danny.
What?
No, you're good now, but you froze for a second.
That's what you're talking about. That you froze. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we're seeing it. I'm seeing Sodom and Gomorrah now. Like, if you're a believer, I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I am, but it's like, look, in regards to the Bible itself, I don't trust that. I think that a human wrote that, but that's neither here nor there. But in terms of the deity himself, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of the whole religion is often poison, and it's made humans do horrible things to each other. And I'm like, I want to be able to be in a position where I can, see them and talk to them directly without the influence of humans and their agenda and what they choose to do with that and do horrible things to each other. When you look at their religion, it tells you to treat everybody with respect, but they like to pick and choose what they want to follow. And it doesn't change that you still have your own choices in your life. And I choose to do things my way while acknowledging that they're there, but still not depending on them for anything in particular. I'm like, I will deal with them when I see them. That's my mentality. And anytime that something good happens, I'm not going to blame it on God. And something bad happens, I'm not going to go, well, that's the devil at work. I'm like, no, that's a fucking human that did that. That human did that shit with that person's choice. This human decided to pick up this gun and kill this other human. That was the decision that human made. I'm not going to blame it on the devil.
Okay,
it's that scumbag right there.
I'm not going to
look at it
too deep into this, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about Bible. I don't want to be like Bible thumper and try to put people in church, but let's just say you're a believer, which I am, a very strong believer. Revelations talks about things in the final days. And in the final days, it speaks, I'm kind of paraphrasing, that the seal that is protecting hell is going to be broken. And demons are going to get out. And if you believer, demons possess people, because we are seeing things now that we never seen before. 200, 300 years, parents killing little babies. I mean, I see all kind of stuff. I could tell you some of the cases I've seen now, it just don't make sense. And the only thing that comes to my mind that makes sense is this sucker got to be possessed or crazy. If you believe in that, and let's just say, hypothetically, you don't, let's just say if we go to the movies, a demon possess somebody, usually they exhibit cruelty, anger, just craziness. We are seeing that in large numbers in the world that I live in. Mental health, patients and people are going through the roof. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that because I don't have any physical evidence. All I got is my faith, and I believe in the Bible and what it says. In the Bible, to me, if you're trying to get to heaven or live whatever Christian life, is the roadmap. The same one I'm going to pick up here every day to go find somebody, one of my clients. I hit the road maps. If you want to go to heaven, the Bible is the roadmap. So I'm just saying, if you are a believer, which I am, you don't have to be. You can do it Terrence way or however you want to. That's your way of ragging. I'm just saying that if you are a believer, there are things that the Bible is predicting that is happening now.
Completely understandable.
I said a long time ago that evil. In fact, I said it maybe 5 years ago to a friend of mine that I feel like evil is making a very strong comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And then Donald Trump came into power, and then I'm seeing all these things happening, and like it's like almost common sense is oblivious.
Well, I told a pastor one time that, you know, he was underestimating, because I was talking to him for 3 hours. And I said, do me a favor, close the book and talk to me like a person, because he kept kind of going to that. And I felt like he was pulling stuff from there. I'm like, you need to think for yourself on this. And I told him at one point during that conversation, because I told him, we're going to be talking for 3 hours. He thought I was joking about that shit. Well, he was wrong. So I told him, you are underestimating the savagery of the human species. These creatures, the things that they do and say to each other, I'm like, that's not a demon. That's a fucking human. If this is how the humans are, I don't want to see what happens when they actually get possessed. Like, what? Holy crap. That'd be something that would probably bother you, sir. And then he just, you know, he had a certain expression, but I was like, you know, if you wanted to have a conversation, you got one.
Well, I'm going to say one last thing, and I'm going to shut up.
It's okay. Do you think, bro?
Terrence, you are a very intelligent young man. I hope you don't outsmart yourself out of heaven.
Oh no, Danny, I want to get there so that way I can.
I just things you're saying now, things you are saying now, and I'm being dead ass serious. Things you're saying now make me concerned. So I'm just saying this in the most loving way as I can. As someone that gives a damn about you, I hope you don't outsmart yourself out of heaven.
That I appreciate it, Danny, but that's not going to happen, because according to the book, you know, the Son died on the cross for our sins, which means there's no limit to that.
You gotta accept him. You can't be there wondering like, damn, why did I do something? You gotta have blind faith. Enough.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe in them. I just have a problem accepting, you know, a book that came from humans. That's just the roadblock. You know, if I talk to them and they tell me like, T, the book is real, 100%. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I thought humans were using that for control and manipulation. You know how humans do, you know. And then, but because he knows everything, I feel like he already knows that shit. He already knows, you know, why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm thinking. He has all the fucking answers. That's just how it is, or at least what the humans tell me anyway.
Okay, bro.
Terrence, I'll say this to you. From my point of view in my religion, because I mean, I actually believe this is heaven. We just haven't perfected it yet. But that being aside, put that aside for a moment. One of the realizations I've made is that, and this connects religion, non-religion, science, whatever you want to connect. I have not disproven this yet. This is a core belief that the universe is so perfect, all roads end to the same outcome. And I have faith in that. Eventually, all roads, whether you're religious or not, whether you're good or bad, they're all going to one way or another, going to one end. And we'll see what happens.
Right.
That we will.
And I'm okay with that. I'm like, look, I'm a believer, so I feel like I'll probably end up in heaven. But, you know, again, we don't know for sure. That's why it's called faith, right? I have faith, but at the same time, I still like to do things my way, regardless of the faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not some sort of drone or puppet. I have my own ideals. They may or may not be correct. You know, humans will agree or disagree, but only a deity actually knows everything, to where a human can't even fathom it. So that can only go so far. So my thing is like, I'm doing what I can on this planet full of a bunch of humans that are very destructive, and they find different ways to fight each other instead of banding together to better the entire species. But I'm going to do what I can. And then whatever happens after that is what happens. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to pray on it. I was like, I'll see you. Get it.
Absolutely.
I want to correct the one thing I said about this actually being heaven. It's not that we actually haven't perfected it, it's we haven't realized it yet. Sorry, because there's no perfecting perfection.
And also to add to the listeners, first of all, any sort of demon that tries to do anything to a believer, like if you're actually a believer, a demon and evil can't harm you anyway. It's actually impossible for you to be possessed because they would be afraid of you. They tend to possess and go after individuals that are weak, that are vulnerable to possession to begin with. Like if you notice, even in fiction, when they do horror movies, they tend to possess weak individuals because the strong characters are the ones fighting the fucking demons to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You mean like Regan, like little kids and stuff like that? Is that what you're talking about?
Right, like whether the movie is like, okay, a kid is possessed or the adult is possessed.
Right,
when you find out what's going on with them, they are so fucking weak. There's no mental strength. There's no faith. There's no consistency. They question everything. There's just a fundamental setup to be taken over by something evil. And then you have characters like, I don't care if it's Blade, it's Buffy, it's Sam and Dean Winchester. You got individuals like, oh, so you're going to try to roll up on me. You ain't going to do that because I'm all about the strength and the faith, and you're about to get your shit wrecked. And then you proceed that way. I'm like, I don't fear humans. I don't fear evil. I don't fear demons. I fear nothing because I know who I am and how strong I am. I just say, hey, step up to the plate and see what you can do. Because if you're some kind of thing coming out of hell, well, you ain't going to be able to touch me anyway. So what's up? Am I supposed to be afraid? Not going to happen.
Absolutely. Ain't no one ignoring you. Don't worry about that. 2 hours and 30 minutes. We're probably going to close it up. I just want to see if anybody else has anything else to say. Anything else they want to talk about? Roberto?
Bell still sucks.
How do they get the caramel in the caramel bar?
I just want to say that's not always true about weak people, because David was the king. He was chosen by God, but he sent his best friend off to war and got killed because he lusted after his wife. So that's not always true. You can be favored. Samson was favored by God, but he let Delilah, the woman, and then you know what? Got him in trouble.
See, there you go. That's the weak areas, though.
No,
that's how that stuff happens.
Samson was physically strong.
No. Mental weakness. Like it to me, mental strength is more important than anything physical.
You are right. I'm not getting into it.
Right, okay, but is that not true? Like even with these characters that you guys like so much, don't they have to have mental strength to deal with all their problems? It doesn't matter if they can pick up a train or shoot beams out of their eyes.
Yeah.
I just said you are right. I'm tired. It's 12:30. I'm going
real quick.
Y'all for the invite. I appreciate it.
Last thing
Yes,
Thank
I want
y'all for the invite. I appreciate it.
I want to get on my chest. Isn't it a coincidence that if you take Agatha Harkness, you take the first 2 letters and the last 3 letters, you get Agnes?
We know that.
Oh, exactly. It's all her. She's doing it all.
bro. Oh my god, you and this goddamn fucking WandaVision, bro. It's tomorrow night. Don't worry. We get the next episode tomorrow night.
I'm telling you, rewatch it knowing that she's controlling everything. It's a whole new show.
Danny just bounced. I didn't even I want to tell him to shout out his channel. He just bounced.
He says, I'm tired. I'm tired.
First off, I wanted to say that tonight I heard a lot of people in the chat saying that the O.O.C is the best show on the internet, and I'm extremely humbled by you guys thinking that. I kind of wish I believed that, but I mean, the fact that you guys are in here watching it, I swear to God, is the most humbling thing that I've ever experienced, at least one of them anyways, because when I started this platform, I was like, ain't nobody gonna sit there and watch me.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly
you know what I mean? Like, why would they like me? Why would they like us? But
I mean, look at all the amazing individuals on the panel, though. I mean, you guys are, I mean, to me, amazing, you know, that you're able to come on and talk about stuff like this, because anybody can go, hey, did you see that episode of WandaVision? But it's like, what about some real shit, you know, stuff that makes humans squirm in their seat that they can't fucking handle kind of stuff, you know?
I agree, man. And like Roberto said, it's like, really? You know what I mean? People are going to watch us. At least that's what I thought, because I'm like, even when I started with you guys, I'm like, yeah, I'll come on to your show, but like if I do my own show, I'm like, who the hell is going to watch me? Like I didn't think I was interesting enough or anything like that. But when I sit here and I see OCC is the best show, OCC is fire, OCC is this, it means a lot, man. It means a lot.
Let's get it right. It's O.O.C. Sorry, I didn't want to correct you.
I didn't
what did I say?
You said OCC. It sounds smoother. It sounds smoother.
That's Orange County Choppers.
Trust me, Anzo. I've said it many times. OCC. It just sounds like smoother, you know. But the O.O.C. sounds like more West Coastish, you know.
Don't make me sing the song again, man.
We need to hear it. We need to hear it from the beginning, Anzo. I had your back, man.
Oh, I know, man. I know, Terrence, man. That's what I'm saying. Like from the start, you and Danny, and I was like said, if I had been with other YouTubers, maybe I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, because you guys were great conversation. You know, you opened you guys' hearts and arms to me and gave me a chance to talk and have good conversation. If I would have went somewhere else and didn't have a good conversation, I'd have been like, fuck you too. I ain't going back on there. So
hey.
Yeah, I showed up with the Anzo shirt. You know, you were at your stadium, Anzo. You're like, man, ain't nobody gonna fucking come here. I'm already there. Like, Anzo, let me in, buddy. I'm here.
If it wasn't for your rogue text, I wouldn't be here.
I know.
It's so funny how things work.
Yeah, I know.
If it wasn't for your Mac breaking down, I wouldn't be here.
And then Geishka watching the show, finding out and him wanting to come on. You know, it
that wasn't a joke. That's how we met. Mac was acting up, and that's how we met. Oh my god!
It was not acting up. I wanted you to help.
You were having sound.
With the capture card. It wasn't acting up. I just didn't know how to set
connected to your Mac. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Whatever. Andrea, I just want you to know that if I had one person watching, 1,000 people watching, I will always stay true. That's what we are about. We will always stay true to this show, man. Like I said,
Ye 1,000.
What's that?
I don't recall seeing Ye 1,000. Made a very nice comment.
Someone new? No. Hey, Ye.
I think he is new. Thank you for joining us. I get that. You know what I mean? I do appreciate it. Like I said, I thought the same thing about random songs with humbles me still. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I appreciate it. Trust me. And me and
look
Roberto
how well we're getting along too, right?
We're getting along.
Oh yeah,
well.
you got a great panel. Like one thing I can say is a lot of the people that I've met on YouTube were absolutely great people. You know, I met some clowns, but I don't fuck with them. But these guys, everybody here, like all coincidence. Josh just happened to come on to a Rob stream one time. It was Storm's Nation. He was always in chat, and he came into Nation. Boom, Josh was there. Guys asked me. I sent Roberto a text because I thought it was Robert Storms. So I texted Roberto, and I'm like, "Hey, what'd you say?" And Roberto's like, "Your YouTube channel. What are you talking about?" And I sent it to him, and then he's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I wanted to do that stuff." And I'm like, "All right, so let's do it." You know. LDG met him because of Chris. Terrence was with Danny my first time, so you know.
Respect to all of you. You know, you Anzo, everybody, because a lot of times, like I'll go somewhere. I always have my shield ready. Like they might start throwing some spears or torches or something, and then when that doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, cool. It all worked out. That's awesome. I put my shield down. It's all good.
Absolutely.
Are you wondering why I'm pointing at you guys, Gar?
How's that?
You see what Mama Bear Doll wrote? So I thought he's high yellow. He's high yellow. That's what we call him uptown. High yellow.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the white chocolate of the panel, guys.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Right. That's right.
He's white chocolate.
Yeah. So Roberto, tell the people about your channel, sir.
LDG. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I could say this, and I'm going to stay true to our followers and my panel people. Next week when we do this show, because we keep it live every Wednesday. I look so forward to it. But next week when we do this show, I will be telling you about my show that I'm going to make a little thing about. And I have to thank my man LDG for giving me a great title for my show.
Is there any? Really?
Yeah. You don't remember?
What was that? What was it? I'm sorry.
I told you we were talking about when Anzo and I first came about this show, what we really wanted to call it. And I said I thought it was a little too vulgar, and you said, "Why don't you just call it?"
Oh yeah, I remember.
Come on, man.
I'm not gonna say it though.
I am sorry. You got me. I am sorry. What was it? I'm sure it'll kick me in the back of the head as soon as you say it.
Dang, I feel out of the loop now. Like I'm
the ego.
What's up, Jeffrey?
The ego.
Oh yes. Okay, I do remember that. All right,
I will be playing a little 15 or 30-minute thing together. I'm starting to, I don't know, from the love I feel every Wednesday, I feel it's only right. I feel this is my path, and I hope I can get some love and support through this, man.
Oh, you definitely will, bro. Your channel will be broadcast everywhere when you get stuff up. We'll take care of you. Don't worry about that, man.
Respect.
Don't worry about that, Once again, guys, we are closing it up. Great show.
Hold up. What about the rest?
The rest of what? Oh, did I miss one?
Nice guy didn't say his stuff.
It's all good.
Everybody.
Yeah, and guys, and you know what I mean? Don't worry. Guys, talk about your channel, bro.
Wanda just rewound Anzo.
Nah, this first time Roberto. This is the first time Roberto talked so much all night. So I was like, okay, yeah, time.
Oh my god!
Hey man, I was a great listener tonight. I wanted to be like Josh Jr., man. Josh Jr. Call me JJ.
I threw some stuff in there too, but
Josh, you're the best listener on this panel, man.
Not too
You
much.
just fucking sit there and listen, and like Caleb said, you got the best facial expressions. You make me laugh all the fucking time when people say shit, man. But go ahead. Sorry, guys.
When you see his face like contort or something, you're like, you look at him and you look at the chat because something happened, right?
Get some meme action going. Get some memes and some gifs going, man.
Get in there,
all right. Yeah, the guys from the Basco Scenario, you can tune into my channel, the Basco Scenario on YouTube, to get some cool clips of me just messing around with gaming. Sunday 9 p.m. Bigger Ford Entertainment, also broadcast on the Chaos Central channel, on the Vision Roundtable. at 9 p.m. Mondays, 9 p.m. Chaotic Conversation. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on the Chaos List. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Rule of 3. Then back here at 10 p.m. for this heartfelt, real shit talk. O.O.C.
Absolutely. It's in the description, Andrew. It's called Movie Aficionados. LDG, you are up next.
I'm up next. Let's see if this works. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're getting this. I get to plug myself scene. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. And of course, I screw it up. I always find a way to screw it up. And another screw up. There we go. Lord.
Thank God I put you on the big screen for that.
So thank you for blowing that up. There's only one thing missing on this screen right now. Oh, wait, you put that on there on the other show. My bad. Anyway, guys, welcome. Minus all the little technical difficulties here. I am the person that has a support channel for computer tech issues, whether you have a Mac, PC, software issues, hardware issues, servers, hardware, anything, guys, hit me up. It's what I do. It's LDG Pixels. Also join us on my secondary entertainment channel, Geeks Enjoy Nerdrotica, where I host The Waiting Room, the stream between the streams, guaranteed to only be slightly better than watching paint dry. If you're not watching any of these fine folks, chill out in The Waiting Room. Is a place where you can hang up your feet, open panels, open topics. We do watch parties every Saturday. We do Married with Children. We're at season 6, about to break into right now, man. To have an awesome, we do 5 episodes every Saturday afternoon, so keep an eye on Geeks Enjoy Nerdrotica. Also, make sure you check out my latest, broke 1,000 videos. There's a Twitch in the witch, or what I like to say, the bitch. WandaVision videos, guys, check them out. I think I'm onto something there that might might open your mind and blow the roof off what Kevin Feige's up to. And last but not least, one of the latest shows that we are doing at midnight, Late Night Nerdgasm. That's right. This time it might just be porn. We have fun, huge open panels, talking adult nerd conversations, cosplay, you name it, we do it. And sometimes the banana gets lost. So join us. Thank you, guys.
Shut up, LDG. You made me want to just
awesome
shut
night. I love you guys. Thank you, everyone.
Respect.
No problem. Thank you for coming. Terrence, you are up, my brother. Tell the people about your channel, sir.
Hey, what's up, humans? It's Terrence. Again, before I go into the channel stuff, thank all of you for, being kind to me. Like that matters to me. That's like, $1 billion. Just something as simple as kindness, and showing respect. So I really appreciate all of you. I want you guys to believe and understand that.
Feel the same way.
Yeah,
bro.
you can. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yep. You can find me on Anzo's channel from time to time. Then more often than not, you can find me on Danny's channel, Comic Chat, and then my channel is T-Virus Terrence. And over there's so much stuff. I feel like you just wouldn't run out of anything to watch, from topics, movie reviews, reviews of shows. I even have stuff over there where humans get surprised, like porn reviews. They're just like, what the hell? You can review porn on this platform? I'm like, absolutely. I do it all the time.
You got to watch them. You got to watch his reviews, guys. Oh, my God. It was great. It was, you had me cracking up. Ask him.
All the time. All the time. Everyone. If you guys haven't watched out his reviews,
you need to.
Absolutely.
That's on Saturday,
Yep.
did you?
Yeah.
Saturday? Yes, Saturday.
Nerdgasm?
No, Saturday's Nerdgasm and Married with Children, yes.
Oh,
but no, his porn reviews, you need to check them out, guys. I'm serious right now.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Terrence. Finish up.
Yeah, I just, like I said, there's a lot of stuff, and I just like to have fun. I feel like that's what it's about. When you click on someone's video, you learn something, maybe you're entertained, and I have a good time making the videos, like whatever it is I'm talking about. And, if humans end up clicking on them and liking them, then that's cool too. But, sometimes in life, you just got to have fun, with all the craziness going on this planet. There should be an area where you can, just go and chill and have a good time and you know, put that smile on your face.
Absolutely. 100%. And like I said, man, Terrence's channel is in the description as well. So if any of you haven't subbed to him, please sub to him, man. This guy, listen, he lost his channel. He built his channel back up, and he's right back up there with 1,000 subs again. So he puts in work, man. Like, you'll never get bored because he always has videos coming up every day. Sometimes it's like Terrence video, 2 hours later, Terrence video, 2 hours later, Terrence video. Like 4 in one night, you get notification for Terrence having a video pop up. You know what I mean? So he does his stuff, man, and you guys will find a lot of stuff there that you'll like. Very knowledgeable in his Marvel, DC, and all that stuff, bro. So check it out. Josh, you were up next. Talk about your channel and get your guitar ready for the song to get us out of here.
Okay, I absolutely will. Yeah, and I'm going to make it short and sweet. We've been on here for like a while, and it's been a great show. And I just want to say, man, I'm grateful to be on here. Movie Aficionados, Facebook, YouTube, and you guys have inspired me too. All of you, Gaishkar, everybody, Anzo, Terrence, you've all inspired me to get my own content back up and running. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Just
awesome. Yeah,
man. Love you guys, everybody.
Thank you, man. You know what I mean? Like
Anzo?
Yes.
Oh, is he playing? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. No, say it. You say it.
What were you gonna say?
If we're leaving on your note, let me just say one thing to Anzo. This is from me to you, brother, from the heart. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to play the music. I was kidding. It was a joke. I didn't know where you were going with that. And out of all the people in this world that could make that joke, I'm hoping it's the one that you would forgive, especially being that you put 2 dildos next to my face on your last show. I love you, Anzo. And I mean that.
If you hear that music,
My brother Anakin,
worth it.
I loved you.
Oh, no, I thought I was getting zoned for a second.
No. Josh, go ahead.
To the O.C. It's the place to go. It's the place to be. Welcome to the O.C. It's the place you wanna go. The place you wanna be. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Welcome to the show. But now we gotta go.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
No problem. Peace out, people.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And like that,